Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everylevelconcrete.com. Good morning, gentlemen of the midday show.
Good morning. How was your weekend?
Excellent.
That's great. Mine was too.
Featured going to my storage unit 100 times.
Why'd you go to the
has it begun?
I had to put stuff there. Eventually, yeah. I just like it when the house is clean.
How much time do you have?
Don't get me wrong, there's a purpose for all of it, but I like it when the house is clean.
Do you need help moving when you move? I can be bought.
I don't know.
Is clutter triggering for you?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why he doesn't.
Was that a
like
yes
me.
for you or is that a yes for me?
Me.
Yeah. Yes.
How do you host with me, Josh?
That
He
is a
stays
great
on his
question.
side of
Luckily,
the
I can't
table.
see a lot of what's going on over there.
Where's your notepad? Oh, you got
It's
it.
hidden.
Okay.
Come on.
I thought
It's
it was.
right there.
It's
It's
usually
under
on
the
this side.
chargers and the cords over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it
this
was
isn't.
good.
This isn't. It's not my fault though. There's just a lot of. There's a
There's
lot of
stuff.
wires.
You seem to have.
As you know, my thoughts on
the
that
point
part
is,
of the table.
it's not necessarily that you make the mess. It is that you sort of welcome the mess. You know, you exist appropriately in the mess.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
yeah.
gonna. I thought it was gonna go like this. It's not that you make the mess.
You are the.
You
best.
are the mess.
Would have been a great line, but I went a different direction.
Um,
Anyway, but that's what I did.
Yeah,
this weekend.
I think that's the one problem about like me. Like one of my resolutions this year was like being cleaner, which I have done. But it's just I have no problem with there being clothes on the floor.
No, yeah.
You know, like I have zero issue. with
Some
that.
people do, some people don't.
Like now, the one annoying thing about me right now is that I have a very nice lazy boy that I should be sitting in more often.
That's annoying about you.
The reason why it's annoying is that
It's become a shelf.
bingo.
He throws stuff on it.
There's hangers on
He
there.
uses
and
it like
clothes
people
on
use their
there.
Pelotons now.
Seriously,
And so the argument for the clean people would be you'd feel a lot better if
my
you
back
just
would be
weren't.
10 times better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my back is deteriorating because I refuse to do my laundry.
Yeah.
If I did my laundry, my back would be.
And
way
this is
better.
a willful acceptance.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
I mean, he's even acknowledging it.
Like
there's no more steps to be taken here.
If you-
There's actually no. There's one very critical step to be taken.
Action.
and
Yes.
do you know how easy it would be in some people's minds for me to be like, all right, Matt, buckle down for the next 3 hours, and properly clean this entire thing.
See, but that's where you're wrong. It's not just a one-time 3-hour thing. It's gotta be a part of you. You
Gotta
have to just
maintain it.
want to be clean, And it doesn't feel like it feels like you maybe lack that at this.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you went with maybe. No. Let's rephrase that. I lack that.
Okay.
I lack that motivation.
All right.
I
Yeah,
fully
think that's
lack
right,
that.
probably.
It is not important to me, which there are things that I think will become important to me when this is so pathetic, but I'm like, when I have a girlfriend, I think I would become cleaner because that she would break up with me if I was as messy as I
No,
am,
sometimes it's birthed out of necessity.
Sometimes they'll be messier than you are.
That can't happen.
You
That
say
would
that
would be so
possible.
unattractive to me, which is so hypocritical of me because I'm messy and yet I think messiness is unattractive.
Opposites attract.
Yes.
Has a woman ever said, I want a messy man?
Sometimes, yeah.
I haven't met those women.
Well, they're out there. Find them. All right.
You had a topic.
Topic alert.
I
Like
did have
Schaefer.
a topic. This is something I know that I've talked about with Happer in the past. I've long had a fascination with this idea that there needs to be a physical, you can visit it, fast food hall of fame where you can
Yes.
go through the history of fast food and all of this. But really what it gets to, and it's not that, because I would put it in Lincoln because they love their fast food and they love their chain restaurants and they love all of that. And it's a great place for it.
You can put it right next to the Rollerblades Museum.
Exactly. Probably going to get about the same amount of visitors. What I wanted to discuss is what are your, just give me one. We'll start with one. What is a no doubt about it, first ballot fast food Hall of Fame item? I have one that I'd say all the time, and it is a cheesy gordita crunch from
Sure.
Taco Bell,
Sure.
which I introduced Connor to because he'd never had it. And I think that's how this had started.
Okay, now let's be clear here. This is your Hall of Fame.
That would be not for me. This is the Fast Food Hall of Fame in general.
Oh.
He would be. He's Ken Rosenthal putting in his vote.
Yeah, this would be. I would vote for the Cheesy Gordita Crunch to be a first ballot Hall of Famer because I have watched that item like from its introduction to where we are now. It costs like $3.50 more, and it is still ungodly popular with Taco Bell and with people that eat Taco Bell.
Who's a
It
better?
was a central part of their box that they did when they created their online boxes.
Oh yeah, I remember
and
the
everything
box.
else.
What's a better representative of Taco Bell, the Cheesy Gordita Crunch or the Chalupa?
Chalupa could be up there. What is it?
I would say the Chalupa.
Some would say the Mexican pizza because
Some
that is
would
like a
say
very specific to Taco Bell.
Mexican
item.
pizza is like Jeter.
Is the Doritos Locos Tacos the Curtis Granderson of Taco Bell?
You're gonna have to explain why it would be Curtis
Because he's
Granderson.
just like, the sixth or fifth best player on a really good Yankees team.
That would describe Scott Brocious in
Okay.
1995.
That's fine. Yeah.
That could describe.
Wait, yeah. So are you pro Curtis Granderson or?
Oh, I'm pro.
Okay.
I'm pro Curtis.
Do you think Curtis should be in the Hall? The Grandy man.
Do you think Doritos Locos Tacos should be in the Hall?
No, I do not.
Exactly.
I'm a no on both.
I think that's why I think I perfectly nailed that description.
Great job, Matt.
Thank you.
You picked a baseball player that could be represented as not being in the Hall of Fame, but also was the seventh best player for the Yankees.
There you go.
For a season or two.
I'm incredible.
But most of his career was spent as a Detroit Tiger, where he was awesome.
Where most of the Doritos Locos Tacos career has been spent in a bag of Doritos, where they are much better.
Oh, so Curtis Granderson is Doritos.
Oh, now I'm more interested in where this is going.
Curtis Granderson on the Tigers is a Dorito, where Curtis Granderson on the Yankees is the Doritos Locos Tacos.
Okay. What are the
Weirdly, you've somehow made this more interesting in a way that you had no business
I
doing.
had no idea what
when
I
was Curtis
doing here.
Granderson a walking taco?
Probably when he was on the Mets.
We're now going to have to pull up that
Frito
B-Rep
pie.
page.
Yeah.
Frito pie Curtis
You
Granderson
can
was
look.
a Met.
You can look at Curtis Granderson's career through a bag of chips.
I can't wait until it's the middle of June and there's a guy who's like, he's not quite a bum, and I just shout at my TV, this guy's a real walking taco.
He's a Frito pie. Mine is McChicken.
Okay.
Absolute
Okay.
first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt.
So this is where I went when you said like the fast food Hall of Fame. I didn't think of the items that would be in the Hall of Fame as much as I thought of the Hall of Fame museum. I started thinking about what would the items in the Hall of Fame museum be, right? And so I guess my first ballot Hall of Famer would be the first fryer used at McDonald's. Like the very first
Would it be
fryer.
the fryer, or are you inducting like the McDonald's system?
You can do like an ice cream machine that works.
I can see it. I can kind of see it right now in my head where there's a part of the Fast Food Hall of Fame museum that's just this little room, and it has the replica of the very first McDonald's fast food restaurant.
Yeah, Michael Keaton was in that movie.
They have
good movie,
and in the museum they have as much of the original things as they possibly can have in this
Sure,
in
it's
the
like
mock. That was the actual grill, and that was the actual fryer.
Sounds
and
like
that was
an
microwave.
exhibit at the Durham.
Yes,
It really does.
I'm thinking like this is George Washington's house, but it's actually, the McDonald's, the first ever McDonald's.
When I think of the Hall of Fame for fast food, I think of it as a large food court where the items that get inducted are sold and available there, but not if they haven't been inducted.
So you got
awesome.
McChicken, you have the cheesy gordita crunch. I would just put. Let me get a combo here. I would do the $5 biggie bag from Wendy's. So which is
Hall of Fame
a Hall of Fame item for $5.
Now, if you
can
said
get,
the junior bacon cheeseburger specifically,
well,
I could get on
if
board.
we're going
with that.
one specific, see, I would want the whole combo because I think the biggie bag with the fries,
Yeah, but they
with
don't
the
put
nuggets,
they don't
with
put Jeter and Tino Martinez and Bernie Williams the Hall of Fame together.
I love this.
yeah, but
I
they,
love this so much.
but they,
I had the same thought, and you got there first.
but they did induct the entire NWO into the WWE Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
but that's a
They
farcical
did-
Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Do they induct
that's-
teams?
I
Do they
don't think
induct
so.
full MLB teams?
I don't think
Because
so.
I think combos need to be involved.
Hmm.
I definitely
think
do. A
that
combo
individual
meal.
items tend to be what gets inducted. in the
Okay,
Hall
well
of
then
Fame.
okay.
Now, if,
Then a
if,
Baconator. I would
if
take a
you
Baconator.
I mean,
wanted
they do the broadcaster. They do the Ford's Frick Award. You know, like
the Ford Frick Award.
What?
Tom
So,
Hamilton
so,
won it last
so
year.
what?
Danny
what,
Matthews,
what,
former
what
winner.
fry cook are we going to give the Frick Award to?
give it to
Jared.
I'll give it to what's his name, Michael Keaton, Ray Kroc.
Ray Kroc. You give it to Dave Thomas.
You know, it turns out he's kind of a jerk.
No, not really.
Not kind of.
Nah.
Yeah.
There's I don't know the
Stole a lot of ideas.
okay the movie. So
Are you defending Ray Kroc?
if you read his Wikipedia page, he's not as bad of a dude.
I
in the
know Ray
movie.
Kroc. He's from Illinois.
I know Ray Kroc is from his Wikipedia page. Watch the movie. He
It-
sucked.
but it wasn't. It was a little over. Like the McDonald's brothers got what they
Oh, you
asked
think he
for.
got Art Howd?
a little, yeah.
Mm.
He gave them. They wanted. They wait.
We could have went Jerry West.
He got Jerry West.
They went ahead and asked him for this is what we want, and he gave it to them. Okay, he didn't screw them. He gave it to them.
Oh, you're a big
Okay.
law guy.
I
And
cannot
then-
believe you're
and-
pro Ray
and-
Kroc. I
And
didn't see this.
the McDonald's brothers weren't as upset about like the money or anything as like the movie makes it out to be. The McDonald's brothers were more upset that Ray Kroc was considered the founder. That's what their gripe was, even though they were the founders. They were a little upset that he got all the credit from McDonald's when it was really them who made it. So they weren't really mad. Like the movie makes it out to be like, oh, he screwed him out of a lot of money. It's less so that and more so they thought they should have had more of the fame that came with being the founder
Whoa.
of McDonald's.
I'm reading Ray Kroc's Wikipedia page. Did you know that he was once the owner of the Padres? And in 1974, while losing to the Astros 9-5 in the season opener, he took the public address microphone and said, quote, "I've never seen such stupid ball playing in my life."
Seems like a really bad guy.
Crowd cheered in approval.
Sounds like something a really
I'm-
bad guy would
I'm-
do.
I'm saying
The crowd
guys.
loved it, I'm sure. Yeah, they do suck.
I'm saying that the story. I'm not saying he's a great guy, but I'm saying the story was a little. It was a little.
So you got Art
hype-about.
Howd.
All right.
It's a little hype-about.
I'm proud that you have an opinion on Ray Kroc and the McDonald's story that is opposite of most of where people probably
Sure.
come in at it. I'm just proud. That's all it is.
Many
Thank
people
you.
wanting us to go back and get really pin Matt down on his Jared stance.
I was a joke. It was a joke, guys. What do you mean, Jared Stance?
He was an okay
was,
guy.
It was a joke. That's
Did all that
walking.
I looked at his Wikipedia page.
Did Jared get Art Howd too?
Poll question.
No.
I don't want to be part of that poll.
All right, so what's your? Don't pick the biggie bag. Give me a break. Pick
Okay,
pick
Baconator. I'll pick the Baconator.
All
That is
fair.
a first ballot Hall of Famer, the Baconator. I think maybe we should make a separate, like you know how they do the veteran Hall of Fame where you didn't get in through the first 15
Oh,
ballots,
yeah,
you
okay.
know, and then they redo that. We should do that, but for combos.
I'm saying if you wanted to make the argument for combos, which I think is fair, you would have phrased it not under the Wrestling Hall of Fame,
Okay.
but you would go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and be like band
Band.
versus solo artist.
Well,
that
that's
might
the
have
same
been-
thing in the
would've been a much
WWE
better
Hall of
argument.
Fame.
Yeah.
I
much
think you
better
could have
argument.
won hearts and minds over here.
There's no, he just
Instead-
says it's farcical because he's just trapped in his brain where he doesn't like wrestling. And there's nothing
No,
that's ever going to happen that makes him like wrestling.
No, it's just fake.
It's not fake. It's not fake.
Whoa.
There's nothing fake about what they're doing.
Mm.
All right.
The
Yeah,
face
dude.
he made. I will go back and find this so I can watch the camera and the face that he made. It's not fake.
Nothing
There
fake
was
about
real
bouncing.
anger.
There's nothing fake about bouncing off of steel
There was
cages. There's
anger
nothing
behind those
nothing
eyes.
fake about the tables they're going through or the chairs they're getting hit with.
Yeah, they're real
They-
men.
Yes, they are.
Uh-huh.
They're incredible athletes.
They're great. We know Truth Magnum. So does Schaefer. He watched
Yeah.
him spill his nachos.
He did.
I did.
That's a Hall of Fame tweet by Truth Magnum being like, "How did you know this?"
How'd you know?
It was a year ago today or tomorrow.
Yeah, around
I think
this
it was,
time.
yeah.
Baconator for sure in for me. It's a little more new, so maybe it needs more time to build up a rep here
Crazy.
to get
It's
in.
like 17 years old.
No. I'm leading up to something.
Sure. No, I got you.
the Shake Shack burger,
I
the
love it.
Shack burger,
I love it.
maybe doesn't have the reputation that maybe all of these other, items have.
Shack me up.
But the burger itself, it's like Didier Drogba from he's a soccer player from Chelsea. He had a really great peak.
I know.
Awesome.
What about
burger.
him?
That's what Shake Shack is a little bit, where it just hasn't had enough time at the top.
He's
But
not
it's-
Ronaldo or Messi, but he's
Yeah.
very good.
He's very, very good.
See,
and at his peak, he was awesome.
See, the problem with starting a Hall of Fame is that you have to what was the Hall of Fame that we always talked about? The video games?
The Toy Hall of
The
Fame.
Toy Hall of Fame. Like you're forced to put in like blocks and Legos.
Before you can put in
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Dungeons
gotta-
and
I mean,
Dragons.
Legos deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Of course
I
it
get
does.
I
Of
get your
course.
point on blocks.
Of course,
I get
it
your point on
deserves
blocks.
to be in the Hall of Fame, but like you have to mention it before you know. So maybe there's an assumption that like McDonald's fries are already in.
Yeah, it
You know?
is in my mind. Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, yeah. I don't think that. Like, do I have to say the Big Mac and
That's
the
why
Whopper?
I don't think anyone chose an item that, like, we all chose ones that there would be actual debate on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not like anyone said McDonald's fries or,
A
whatever
Whopper.
else.
a Whopper would be in.
Whopper's
the Big,
in.
The Big Mac would be in. The Chick-fil-A sandwich would
Yep.
be in, regular and spicy.
Happer would absolutely fight tooth and nail against the Popeyes chicken sandwich, even being on the ballot.
They only got involved because
Too big.
it's also too big.
Is the Popeyes chicken sandwich the steroid? Steroid
The
baseball player?
steroid wing of
Yeah.
the chicken
Yeah.
steroid
The
wing.
chicken
of the,
sandwich wars are probably the steroid wing. You know,
Yes.
They've been.
See, now that's the other thing. Like you can have in this
Are we
Hall of Fame-
comparing? Are we comparing chicken sandwiches to Aguirre and Sosa?
well, they're like Barry Bonds was really, really,
wrong.
I think
Barry
that's
Bonds was
great.
really, really cool. They could have made a good sandwich no matter what, but they just had to do it only because all the other places were doing chicken sandwiches.
Sure.
Bonds could have gotten the Hall
Which
of Fame
is
without
bigger,
the roids.
the Popeyes chicken sandwich, chicken breast, or Barry Bonds' head? What grew more?
Therefore,
The
steroid wing of fast food Hall of Fame.
I do think in the
You're
fast
right.
food Hall of Fame, like you could have like really cool sort of history of stuff for different eras. Like one of the things in there is kind of the early 2000s value menu when it was still a value menu versus what we talk about now.
Dollar
Stuff
menu
costs
air.
$1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was amazing. I was thinking about that the other day. Like you could go have a nice fast food meal for $4.
Now you could go pick 6 random things. Guess how much it costs, Matt? $6.
What's
The biggie bag, I guess, is $5. That's like what
Arby's used to do 5 for $5.
Yeah,
They made
5 for
them so-
$5.95.
They made them so small though in the biggie bag. It's like a one-piece chicken nugget. Would you like a one chicken nugget as one of your items?
I do love the junior bacon cheeseburger, though. I never want a bacon cheeseburger at Wendy's. I'll get the Baconator. If
I
I
So-
enjoy Wendy's.
but I want the junior bacon cheeseburger for some reason.
So do we
The
like?
JBC.
What, I'm forgetting the name here, and people are gonna make fun of me for it. But
They will not.
What is the
We won't
what is,
allow it.
what is the word for when somebody gets inducted into a Hall of Fame after they passed away?
Posthumously.
Okay.
Posthumously,
Are we having a posthumously fast food Hall of Fame as well? Like
Who's
our
died?
Boston Market?
Oh,
Would they get in, though? Like,
I loved Boston,
Boston Market is-
Boston
I
Market
just
was
don't have
awesome.
enough frame of reference with it. They're
So-
a blind spot in my fast
or like
food.
the Valentino's buffet.
So, but this happens though.
I don't know
in
if I
the-
think of them as fast food.
Okay, fair enough.
This
I'm
happens
fine with that.
in Hall of Fame conversations. A lot of times, what happens when people die is they get
Embellish their
remembered.
greatness.
They get remembered differently, and they embellish their greatness. Boston Market, I believe, that's
Okay.
happened to them
that's
because of its absence and its death. It is now thought about better.
like this isn't fast food, but another good example might be because I don't really know this place.
I was around when Boston Markets
But-
were going on. Nobody was going to Boston
but
Market.
people talk about Radio Shack as if it was
Oh yeah.
an incredible place to be, and you had to experience it. I never went to a Radio Shack once in my life.
Radio Shack.
Radio Shack was closed before I was really alive.
Oh wow,
That's incredible.
that's crazy to think about.
Like before I could make my own decisions.
I like to go to
it
Radio
was
Shack to
done.
look at the as seen on TV stuff. That was always cool there.
Did
I
you
like-
ever buy anything from a Radio
Yeah,
Shack?
I bought like it had use.
I mean,
for sure.
the value of a Radio Shack was like in a community like Columbus where there wasn't other options to
Sure.
get your computer technical stuff.
Every time I went
You
to the
could
mall,
go there and get your printer because you may not be able to buy one in other stores.
so like I never bought anything at the mall, but I always went to the mall, right? And
Yeah.
every
You
time
ever
I
bought anything at the mall
I mean,
ever?
I've definitely bought things at the mall, but rare. Like usually, you just go to
The
the
mall
mall
was
to
an
go to the mall.
experience.
the
Yeah.
mall, the mall
Was
was
to hang out with friends. So
Shields.
kind of like that's the
Wow.
modern day mall, I suppose.
But
like,
the new
There
mall.
would be stores that I would go into every single time when I would go to the mall and not buy anything. And Radio Shack was like 4th out of 4.
What other
You
stores?
know?
'Cause now
Yeah.
I'm fascinated.
Lids,
Okay, we're similar here.
Champ Sports.
Yep.
Wow.
All of the like Foot Locker, all of that. I did all of that.
Yeah.
The rally house. You ever have like a rally house you go to?
We
kind of-
just got rally houses
Yeah.
like during COVID.
Meh, overrated.
There was a more locally owned there's like a more locally owned sports store.
Yeah.
What was that place called in Westroads? It still exists, I think.
Oh my gosh.
I think I've been in there.
Sports something. They got a bunch of jerseys
Oh.
and whatnot.
They do have a ton of jerseys and hats in there and
Yeah.
stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
I've been in that store. I don't know
Pro
what it's called.
Image.
Pro Image, maybe.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah. And then Radio Shack. I go to Radio Shack.
Okay.
All of that list, but I would also throw in like I'd always stop by the bookstore, whatever version of the bookstore, like
I love the
Walden
calendar
Books,
store.
or they.
Mhm.
Oh man, as a kid, the calendar kiosk, I spent way too much time.
There's a
What?
huge calendar
Never
section at
bought
Toys
any.
R Us.
Whoa.
75% off right now because
Toys
it's
R Us
almost
is
March.
back.
Yeah, Westroad's 2 stories.
I haven't been there in probably a couple of years.
I was there literally yesterday.
Crazy.
Calendar store?
Yeah, it's like you go in there and you buy little games or calendars. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a full storefront. Sometimes it's just a kiosk in the middle.
Okay. Cool.
It's really big at during Christmas time.
Oh, I figured. Yeah. Like I only ever go to Bath and Body Works.
I would
during
go
Christmas
look
time.
at the Minnesota Vikings calendar and then laugh at how many of the players on there were no longer actually on the team
Oh, no.
because they had to build the calendar well out before the season that was coming.
Oh, sure.
So it
and
was-
then they
yeah.
got rid of everybody. That's
Mhm.
funny. So I think we probably should like make a doc, like a Google Doc, and make this fast food Hall of Fame. I think this is something that actually
should
would
we
be
do that?
fun. And like, if you think of another item or if you
I
have an
have-
item recently, you go,
Yeah.
hey, we should put this in here. Like, I do think one that maybe some people would automatically put in the fast food Hall of Fame, but others would be like, oh, it's disgusting, is the KFC original bucket.
That's what I was going to nominate.
Okay. Yeah.
'cause
You never got your opportunity to
'cause
nominate. The floor is yours.
I just imagine that the first time, like my parents were able to get a bucket of chicken in their car,
Crazy.
it would be mind-boggling
That
to
is.
people.
Yeah.
Those are such great days when I was a kid. Is usually a Sunday we were going to end up with fried chicken, and it was always a highlight. Getting the fried chicken from KFC, the biscuit, fighting over who gets the drumsticks because that's what I wanted more than anything else. That
There's
was in
something
there.
special about the bucket.
Yeah.
though. The
And
bucket.
the red and white bucket, like it was a good day.
The bucket.
You knew that was good.
You did the Matt McMaster thing where you like looked into the sunset instead of
I
very
remember the bucket.
anonymous sentence. There's something about the bucket.
There's a Popeyes like very close to my house, and we utilized that on Saturday. That was an excellent time.
Nice.
I had Popeyes.
If Bubba Wallace won the Atlanta,
Is he
Echo
the
Park-
Popeyes car?
No,
He better not be.
No.
Careful.
You two are the only two who thought that.
No,
You
that's
two are
not
the
true.
only two who did anything with that.
Say what you want about Bubba Wallace.
I
but
would-
be
I-
careful.
I bet on him to win a race yesterday, and he lost. He was in first place and well on his way to winning it. He messed up, and I was going to win $300 if he won the race. And if that were to have happened, I was going to order Domino's for me and my roommate. All right. I was like, Bubba wasn't first.
Okay.
And I said, if Bubba wins, we're getting Domino's
You
tonight.
could have given me, like, if you'd have just stopped at the
Yeah.
initial Bubba Wallace, you could have given me so many guesses, and I never would have gotten to you winning money to order Domino's.
So what happened? He didn't win. What
So
happened?
he went
Did you
to.
guys just have to eat like
he-
condiment sandwiches or something?
I had rainbow trout and potato cakes instead.
That sounds like a much better option.
Yeah.
I know, but I wanted Domino's. I wanted the garlic knots.
Where did the rainbow trout come from?
I
The
had to eat things on Friday, and so that was just kind of
Well, no, I get that, but
Leftover.
Where did you
rainbow
get
trout.
the fish?
Hy-Vee. It was for you get 4 fillets for like $6.
I have an email from Mark on this topic.
Hey, Mark.
He asked, is the McRib Sammy Sosa? Not everyone will admit it, but at one point almost enjoyed a McRib like Sosa in 1998. It is a specialty sandwich that only shows up every once in a while, but when it does, it has as much hype as anything.
Yeah.
It ends in controversy as to what it actually really was, and people try to pretend they never really liked him.
These are all good comps.
Yeah,
These are all good
If
comps.
the McRib had a cork in the middle of it, I would say, yeah.
It might.
I would
Like
say
made of corks.
I would say that
We cannot rule that out.
We cannot.
when I think of the McRib and like a baseball, like a sport, an athlete comp, I would try to think of a person who was probably a little worse than their persona would lead you to believe. And I don't think Sosa fits that. I mean, he hit 600 plus home runs, right? So
Yeah, I think he's like weirdly debated as if he's good or not. And he's clearly good.
He's clearly good.
Like,
right now, there's some
clearly good.
question about
How he got there, sure.
good. Yes.
And NU Tenskers on the store we were trying to think of. If you weren't trying to think of pro image, you might have been trying to think of Lawlers.
Lawlers, they had Lawlers in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I thought Lawlers had a standalone location.
Superstore, 84th and J.
One thing about Sosa, though, is that not only like he's the only one that I could think of that not only took steroids, but also corked his bat. Like there was no,
I remember.
Man,
there was no line that man wasn't willing to cross.
He was
I
corking
suspect
it.
he wasn't alone.
No,
There's other
that's
guys that cork bats.
that's totally fair. But
It
like,
was just really funny how he got caught.
he got caught. Like he's the only one that got caught.
Oh no,
like,
a broken bat.
Like
What's in here?
I just grabbed this from the bin. I didn't know.
yeah, like that's honestly the whole steroid thing is. That's probably like when it comes to me judging Sosa, I probably knock him more for the corked bat than I do for the steroids because it's just like who else got caught with that? Who
Albert
else
Bell.
actually got caught doing that?
I mean, not probably very many, but they do like bat tests where probably you wouldn't hear about it. They just toss the bat out and say peace.
Yeah, no. I'm sure that guy's got
He
away
got
with
caught
it,
very
but
publicly.
But he got
Yeah.
caught.
Yeah.
Like that bothers me a lot. So
More than the steroids,
the steroids do bother me for sure.
but less than the corked bat.
The cork bat is a whole other. Like that's my point being. Like that's my literal point. No one else got
I'm trying
caught
to dig into it. Like why?
because no one else got caught. No, literally,
It's unique.
Literally nobody else
Quote
got
unquote,
caught doing that.
everybody was doing
Yeah, but he-
steroids.
So
but-
you just attach.
We're gonna have to look up who got caught with cork bats because I know it was more than just Sammy Sosa.
But did Canseco get caught with one?
Albert Bell got caught.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there you go.
And
Yeah.
Albert Bell didn't necessarily need a corked bat.
No,
He
not
hit
at all.
tanks of home runs.
But did Aguirre? No.
He
Stop
just got
saying
caught
Aguirre.
with Andrew.
Maguire.
My
Yes.
bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maguire's a different person.
Maguire.
Just 'cause you're
Maguire.
Latin doesn't mean everybody else is.
Mark Maguire.
All
Famously.
right. 6 MLB players have been officially caught using cork bats since 1974. Greg Nettles, 1974. Billy Hatcher, 1987. Albert Bell, 1994. Wilson Guerrero, 1997. Chris Sabo, 1996. And Sammy Sosa, 2003.
Wow, Sosa was the last one to
think
ever
so.
get caught with the corked bat.
Or at least at this profile level, I guess. But
Right. That's a big part of it. It happened literally during the game. You know?
Yes.
Most people get caught with cork bats. It's just like, all right, here you why is this like this? Please throw this bat away. Thank
suspended
you.
for 8 games, which actually seems kind of light for what a big deal it could have been considered.
Yeah, maybe that's your poll question. Is having a corked bat a big deal?
Yes. Yes. The effort that goes into doing that. Now it's a little different. I've seen a video of like guys putting like bouncy balls in like their bats, like rubber balls in their bats to give like a.
You think
top.
technology didn't exist in 2003?
No, I know. I'm saying that I saw a YouTube video that like the new wave of cork bats was like putting bouncy balls in there.
What was the bat that got designed that everybody was worried was going to take over baseball in April, and then we never talked about
Oh
it
yeah,
again
torpedo bat.
Yeah. It was like a big conversation for a week and then never heard about it.
Because the Yankees hit a bunch of home runs in their tiny baby ballpark against the Brewers,
I hate
and they were like, "Oh my god,
hate
torpedo!"
that park.
We had the
Then
torpedo
the Brewers
bat.
went on to have the best record in baseball.
We had
They
the,
did.
we had the torpedo bat at the College World Series,
Yeah.
and all the little kids were like, "Oh my god, you got the
torpedo bat."
torpedo bat!"
Yeah, if you were a bat maker and you weren't making torpedo bats, you were missing out.
It was fun because the kids would run up and get all excited and be like, "Dad, can I get this? I'd hit tanks with this." And all the dads were like, "Okay, kid, why don't you learn how to swing the bat first?"
Yep. Exactly.
It's like I hit 37 home runs in my high school senior year. I didn't need no torpedo.
But everybody thinks
bat.
it like, hey, if I had these shoes, I'd
Mhm.
I'd be able to dunk that thing.
Yeah, and everyone thinks if I had the sliding mitt, I could be able to steal second.
Huge. Oven mitt, big deal. Big deal. And but when you're at the plate, you can't just leave it in the dugout. You have to put it in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to go.
Apparently, Pete Rose was corking his bat throughout the 80s in his chase. To
Oh,
break
wow.
Okay, that was the name I was going to bring up. I didn't have any details of it, though.
Collectors of Pete Rose memorabilia gave over 2 bats from the 80s that they found cork. Telltale signs of corking. This is fascinating. The Astros manager in 2005, they lost to the White Sox in the World Series in 5 games. He admits to corking his bat when he played. His name's Phil Garner. And he also admits that when he was the manager of the 2005 Astros, they were corking their bat all season.
Oh, no.
And in the World Series.
Another black guy on Brad Osmus. That
amazing.
That's great. That's the crossover. Dare we say? Because you need some. You need some.
Stop saying that. Just say it.
Happy New Year.
I like it. Happy New Year.
Crossover.
Let's
Powered
bring
by
a rope
Level
for us.
You
Concrete
need
Repair.
this. You need this.
Crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Middays with Matt is up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy! But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt here at 1620 The Zone, a gold medal edition of Middays with Matt, if you will, or maybe even Josh Hodson, a double gold medal edition of Middays with Matt after both the men's.
How about 12 of them things?
It's the most we've ever had, correct?
At a Winter Games, yes.
The U.S. is coming. We're taking everything over.
That's right.
Did we win the Did we win the Summer Olympics last year? Do you remember that?
Good question.
I'm assuming we did.
I assume we did, yeah.
Because we're just winners. Is just what we are.
Well, yeah.
In America.
Your words, not mine. 40 golds at the Paris Olympics.
Wow. That was more than any
China also had 40 golds.
How many silvers did we get?
But the Americans had 35 more medals total.
Thank goodness.
Than the Chinese squad.
What a performance from the Americans in the Olympics. What a performance from the men's Olympic hockey team. What a performance from the women's Olympic hockey team. Josh Hodson.
Matt McMaster.
Middays with Matt, where we have everybody's Monday show, or we had everybody's Monday show on a Wednesday.
Whatever do you mean by that,
We talked about so many things last week that we were probably, a lot of people are talking about today. We talked about what if the U.S. could sweep both golds in hockey? How big would that be for the United States? We touched on that. People are talking all about that because that's exactly what happened. We talked about 3-on-3 hockey being a terrible way to decide who wins a gold medal in overtime.
Turns out you're dead wrong about that.
I was dead right about that.
I don't know. It worked.
Everybody was bitching and moaning and complaining. And look, we will have some thoughts and opinions on all of that and what John Cooper said and what McKinnon said and what all these Canadians on Twitter said.
Hosers.
We do all know, though, that like if the boot was on the other foot, we would be saying, man, the Americans would be saying, man, it's so dumb that it ended on 3-on-3. You know?
Yeah, that was probably going to happen.
That was going to happen either.
Yeah.
That either side was going to be upset that 3-on-3 happened. Now, I find it way more rich that the Canadians are upset about losing in 3-on-3. I find that rich. I'll tell you exactly why. I think it rolls my eyes to the back of my head that they are the ones complaining about 3-on-3. Platcat writes in.
Hi, Platcat.
The bronze medal take is honestly aging like fine wine.
Oh, interesting.
I told everybody I'd rather win the bronze. I'd rather end on a win instead of ending on a loss. That Canadian silver medal ceremony was a humiliation ritual.
It was.
I'm going to be honest with you, hard to take my eyes off the screen. It was hard for me. And I'm not even talking from like I'm Scrooge McDuck, laughing and rubbing in the fact that the Americans beat the Canadians.
Oh, let me taste your tears.
It was fascinating to me how they reacted getting that silver. Like
they knew we are on camera right now. We have to keep it together, but I do not want to.
They couldn't. They could not. And by the way, how painstaking it must be for the Canadians, right? They lose that game where they did. I mean, they should have scored more than one goal in regulation, right? That's a fact. They should have scored more than one goal in regulation. They had way too many opportunities with way too many good players to not score more than one goal in regulation. To sit there and truly believe that they were the better team and they should have won that game. And then they have to be there out on the ice for another like half hour watching the Americans celebrate, run around, grab the flags, skate around the ice, holding up the flags like you're holding up the Stanley Cup, be the happiest I've ever seen some hockey players. Honestly, those guys looked like they won the Stanley Cup. You could have made their jerseys black and white and say, what trophy did they win? And you would have been like, oh, I bet they won Lord Stanley. That's how happy those guys were.
You knew the Canadians weren't going to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, yes. That is true. Good Josh. So
I know Puck.
You're sitting there, and those guys are on the ice, and I'll tell you this right now. Like, when you're just standing still in that hockey gear and you're not moving anymore, okay? You're no longer like antsy on the bench, or like you're not skating and you're not like exerting energy. You're just kind of standing still. You start to feel like you start getting a little cold, and then you start feeling like the wetness of your hockey gear, like your sweat starts to like retouch your skin because you're so hot, right? When you're playing, you're so hot you don't feel anything, right? You just kind of, your body's just radiating so much temperature off of you that you really don't feel your gear anymore. I'm being real. But like when you sit on the bench for an extended period of time, or like when you're just standing like they are in that cold rink, like you start to feel your gear again, your legs start to get heavy, your arms start to get heavy. Like it sucks. It just sucks standing there. So you're going through all of that, and then you have to accept these silver medals, which is like the most embarrassing thing that I think could happen to a Canadian hockey player, is to accept silver medals on global television. Absolutely. I mean, it was crazy. So the USA, they win gold medal. We'll have thoughts on that. How big is it for hockey? Does it do anything for the NHL? Does it do anything for USA hockey? What did really yesterday mean in the grand scape of just sports in general? We'll have a great conversation about that. We'll talk about a lot of college basketball today. It was a fun weekend of college basketball. Wisconsin, dominant win over Iowa. Illinois, what the hell? What are we doing, man? Up 23 points, end up losing that game to UCLA. Got to worry about the West Coast road trip. Duke and Michigan, hey, good basketball game. Is it winning any awards? Probably not. Was it an all-time classic? Not really. Was it pretty darn good? Yeah. Houston, Arizona, they played an interesting game. That looked like it was well on its way to being sort of a classic, and then all of a sudden Houston went 10 minutes without making a field goal. It was quite weird. You had the Iowa State had a prime opportunity to go on the road to take on to beat BYU, to put themselves in that Big Ten regular season championship conversation. They blew that game. We'll also talk some local college basketball as well. Nebraska had a get right game where they got right.
Okay.
Defeated Penn State, scored 87 points, 49 of those points in the second half. The biggest takeaway from that game, I'll just spoil it. Penn State is bad.
Oh, no.
Penn State's really bad. Penn State is very hard to watch. Another game that was kind of hard to watch was St. John's versus Creighton. Not for the reason you think, other than just St. John's. There could not be a worse team that Creighton has matched up with than St. John's. Like, everything that Creighton does well on offense, St. John's is perfectly equipped to defend it. Everything that Creighton can't do on defense, St. John's is perfectly equipped to expose that. It was a fairly competitive game. It was 28-23 with about 7 minutes left to go at Madison Square Garden. And then all of a sudden, it just 7-0 run ends the first half. You're down 15. Come out, you hit a couple of shots. Maybe you can fight back in the second half, but St. John's goes on a couple more runs and ends up winning that game by 29 points. We're not going to have a topic on it today. Did you see the court at MSG for the St. John's Creighton game?
Not for this weekend's game. I've seen them play there this year. The court's very busy.
Why are we NASCARifying every court and every surface we play on? I mean,
it's all about that do, re, mi.
The boards at hockey games have become ridiculous now, where it's just absolutely covered in so many different ads. If you're a WWE fan, the wrestling ring has been covered in, Prime advertisements, Slim Jim advertisements, and we're putting ads on the turnbuckles. It's become disgusting. Now I go to Madison Square Garden. They got all these. You got this, I think kind of called it the Frankenstein court or whatever. I mean, it was checkered and there was 5 different ads, and it was just disgusting. I'm just not. Just make it. Can we make it less busy, please? Just less busy. I mean, it's never going to happen though, because now we're putting ads on helmets and ads on jerseys, and it's I don't know. What happened to the game I love? Sometimes I ask myself.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking it up now. I've seen them play on this court before this year.
It's a little much. So We'll talk about Creighton basketball. Talk about Nebraska basketball. We'll talk about the USA, men and women winning gold medals in hockey. Talk about general college basketball. We'll talk about Mike Ekeler. He spoke. He had some words to say about, his situation at USC, his past situation at Nebraska. Has it changed our perspective on everything that went down? My perspective has changed a little bit. I'll tell you why. Okay. Probably not as yelly and passionate about the situation as I once was. Things happen. It seems like could it still be a mistake for Nebraska? Could be, but I think as time has moved on, and things have been said by both sides, you can kind of you can read the lines literally read the lines that are being said about one another from these two men, and you can also read between the lines. And I don't think it necessarily has to be this big dramatic thing that maybe I made it out to be before. At the same time, though, could mistakes have been made? Absolutely. And maybe, the whole sum of this thing is not necessarily the mistake is not retaining Ekeler or not making sure you retain Ekeler, or maybe the mistake will end up being not hiring a full-time special teams coordinator. We will see. But we'll have that discussion later on. We'll also talk about, is NASCAR taking the NBA's thunder?
The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be a NASCAR team?
No, they're not going to be a NASCAR team, Josh Odson. I'm talking about
I'd like to see SGA run into a few cars, see how he feels about driving the lane then.
Hey, that's it. Bang yourself.
Bang
yourself. Double bang there.
Oh, double bang. Okay.
Well, because I said bang yourself, and
Uh-huh.
that's a good one.
That
Double
is.
bang. Is that our first double bang? You never forget your first double bang.
That's, yeah. I don't remember a double bang, so that has to be our first double bang.
It has to. I mean, like I said, you never forget. You never ever forget your first double bang. Jakey Beams in the chat goes, Olympics are finally over. Time for the Derby. The Fountain of Youth Stakes is coming up on the Fountain of Youth is coming up on February 28th.
I love that Jakey Beams is just forget that whole basketball tournament that we obsess over for 30 days. It's Derby time.
What what's so bad about focusing on the first week of May all the way back in February?
As somebody who likes spring an awful lot, I get it. Don't worry. I get it. I get wanting to skip March and go right to spring. But you're going to have guys with medium t-shirts on TikTok going, low key, March is the best sports month of the year, and I'll tell you why.
It's a really good feel, by the way, for the Fountain of Youth on February 28th. Irad's got a horse. Irad Ortiz Jr.
Well, yeah,
he's
of course.
He's an incredible jockey. Yoel Rosario is running. Velasquez is running. Junior Alvarado is going to be in it.
He's daring to show his face there again after the incident.
Who?
I don't know. I'm just making stuff
I was about
up.
to say, what do you know? Flavian Pratt is also he's jockeying a horse. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know a ton of the horses that are running. I just know that when you have all of those jockeys with those horses.
Is our Palladium horse running?
It's not Palladium. It's Paladin. Paladin. Okay. And he's first off the winner of the Risen Star. All right. Stakes.
The Rizzler Star.
Risen Star. Come on. He beat Chip Honcho.
That's a great name.
It's a great race. Even though Chip kind of came out a little slow as a base horse and still couldn't beat Paladin. Neither here nor there. Who's keeping score? So we'll talk about all that. Ekeler, Michael Jordan, NASCAR, college basketball, Creighton basketball, Nebraska basketball. We'll talk about Omaha Softball. The Mavericks have started the season 12-1.
That's
you
pretty
heard
good.
that correct. The Omaha Softball Mavericks have started the season 12-1. Their only loss coming over the weekend to Troy in Alabama.
They were perfect Friday morning.
They were indeed. But 12-1. Mike Schaefer has forgotten something. He forgot his muff.
Always does.
Stop forgetting your muff.
This is Matt McMaster levels of
forgetfulness.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
It's pretty terrible. Mike Hurd, the head coach of Omaha Softball, will be on the air, will be on Middays with Matt at 12:30 to talk about his team's incredible start to their season. 12-1, they are number one, the mid-major current polls out for softball, the number one mid-major team in the country. Mike Hurd has a veteran team. He's got his athletes going right now. They're playing a high level of softball. They have a big weekend coming up. They play Arkansas and Fayetteville. They play Kansas and Fayetteville. Whoa. They play Boise State and Fayetteville. They play Arkansas again on Saturday. And then next weekend, they'll have a 2-game series against Nebraska.
I know that.
So it is a big time in Omaha softball. We're right here in the Big O. So we will talk to the head coach of Omaha softball, Mr. Mike Hurd, along with talking to Robin Washut from Husker Online and On 3. So we have a great show ahead of you today. 402-951-1620. That's the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. That's the hotline Mike Hurd's going to call in on at some point during the show at 12:30. You can call in on it, though, and talk to us throughout the entirety of the show. Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. And don't forget, you can always reach us at the Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. They pick up on the first ring, Josh Hodson.
Whoa.
Old Man Duck. Shout out. Email us there. We'll read your emails. We'll read your tweets. We'll go ahead. We'll take your calls. We'll have a fun time today. It's going to be a fun show. Got a lot of bases to hit, a lot of things to talk about, local flavor, national flavor. You got everything you need here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Fun weekend of college basketball. Having a good time. A lot of ranked matchups. There were some marquee matchups that lived up to the billing. There were some marquee matchups that were kind of meh. And then there were just some like weird results. So I mentioned UCLA defeating Illinois, which was the first time Illinois had gone to Pauley Pavilion since 1997. They literally hadn't played at UCLA 29 years before they took on the Bruins and Mick Cronin. UCLA was trailing by 23 in the first half, and then eventually, they cut the lead, went on an 11-0 run in the second half, and then that game went into overtime, and Donovan Dent had a really good bucket to win it for UCLA. And the reason why people should care, if you're a Nebraska fan, why you should care about that result is because, number one, I think obviously you kind of have to perk up a little bit when you're like, whoa, that team was gone by double digits. They end up coming back. And, UCLA is kind of one of those teams where they definitely haven't lived up maybe to the expectations that you would expect UCLA to, or, they haven't lived up to the expectations they had coming into the season. But by no means have they really been a terrible team. Like, they're still very much on the bubble. Like, they are a potential NCAA tournament team. This is a signature win that they needed in order to put themselves more so on the 9-10 bubble as opposed to kind of being in the 11 where they're at. It's a little strange, though, with Illinois. They've kind of now they've gone on this weird stretch where you go and you beat you beat Nebraska on the road, and you really haven't looked better. And I think it was like their 12th or 13th win in a row at that point. Then you go and you play Michigan State. Okay, you play a really, really tough game. You lose that one. All right, that happens. Like that occurs. It's the Big Ten. Michigan State's a really good team. That game went into overtime, right? Then you play Wisconsin and you give Wisconsin a signature win. That game went into overtime. And you're like, okay, all right, I guess that happens. That occurred. It's the Big Ten. Like, it's the same excuses that you gave them for losing at Michigan State, right? Like, yeah, that one's at home, but hey, Wisconsin can get hot at any point. They got guys who can score the basketball. Then they beat Indiana, they beat USC, and you're like, all right, they're back. Like, they're cool. Like, all right. And then they're up 23 against UCLA, and I have my Illinois plus 1,400 to win the national championship ticket, and I'm sitting here being like, all right, like, this baby's only going to be up in more value. And then they give another team a signature win. And now they're 22-6 on the year, and they're probably going to move back in the AP poll when it releases at 12 o'clock today. It was just a very interesting result to be up that much. And that's the one thing about these West Coast road trips is that you never really know. And you can kind of just, they can just come and get you. And I think Nebraska fans should be aware of this result because UCLA this season, they're 15-1 at home. You heard that right. The 18-9 UCLA Bruins are 15-1 at Pauley Pavilion. They've only lost one game this entire season at home, and that was against Arizona, who's one of the best teams in the country. Other than that, teams have gone to LA, and it has not worked out for them, whether it be from the Big 12, whether it be from the Big 10, does not matter what conference they've been in, who they're playing. When you go to LA, it's really, really hard to win there. They also lost to Indiana at home as well. But, it's a team that is really good at home. And when you go on the road and you play them, you can slip up. So that is the next big game that Nebraska will end up having. They play Maryland on Wednesday before all of that. Here's another weird result. Cincinnati goes to Fog Allen.
They've got like 2 or 3 of those this year where it's
but
just
then
like
they have,
Cincinnati,
but then
really?
Then they have the game where they lose to West Virginia, and Wes Miller is walking by his fan base saying, this isn't acceptable. I have to figure this out. Like, Wes Miller is like acting like a desperate coach. He thinks he's going to lose his job. Since that's happened, they've won 4 games in a row. They've been UCF, which is, potential NCAA tournament team, Kansas State and Utah, and then they beat Kansas on the road. So, they also earlier in the year beat Iowa State, but then they lost to Virginia twice. So I don't know.
They beat Michigan.
I don't know did they beat Michigan, Cincinnati?
That's what this schedule I'm looking at says.
No, I don't. Cincinnati didn't beat Michigan.
Men's basketball,
No.
Friday, October 17th, Cincinnati at Michigan, 100-98. Might have been an exhibition.
I think that's if it's in October. I think that's an exhibition.
I'm just reading the internet.
It's okay. Still though, great win from Cincinnati. Phenomenal win. So weird loss for Kansas. They went 4 of 18 from 3 in that game.
Woof.
The funny thing is though, is that they made 2 of those threes at the very end of the game when it really didn't matter. So they actually went 2 of 16 from 3 in that entirety of the game. They also got 14 offensive rebounds for Cincinnati in that one as well. So the Bearcats just...
You're hearing people ask more and more, is Kansas better without Darren Peterson?
I kind of hate those conversations.
I do too.
I can't stand it. This is like, what is Bill Self going to do? Not play Darren Peterson? Right? Like,
hey, we got the number 1 pick.
Yeah. Well, but the people on Twitter are saying that we've had better results without you than with you, so we're not going to play you. I don't know. I don't think he can. Those conversations are a little weird. I think you can have them maybe about, guys who are 6th or 7th on the rotation. You don't have a conversation with that you don't have a conversation like that about a guy like Darren Peterson, in my opinion. Vandy, after starting the year phenomenally, being undefeated, they lost their 6th game. Tennessee, another kind of one of those SEC teams where they're not elite, right? Like I'm not calling Tennessee an elite team, but they're also a 5 seed on bracket matrix. Like they can go and get you.
Could they win a couple?
Yeah. But I mean, they're on the same seed line as St. John's. Like they're kind of knocking on the door of potentially being a top 16 NCAA tournament team. So it's like, Vandy's good. This is how I feel about the entire SEC. You're good. I just don't think you're going to win the national title.
You're good.
You're good. Like Alabama's good. Arkansas is good. I've seen Arkansas played Missouri. That was a good game. Like Texas is fine. Like there's the SEC's good. They got plenty of teams who are in the top 50 when it comes to being in the net ranking and whatnot. I think the last time I checked, they had 10 teams in the top 50 in the net ranking. I just wouldn't. I think the Big 12 and the ACC and the Big 10 all have a better shot at having having the national champion than the SEC does. And I think the SEC's best shot at this point at winning the national championship is the team that won the national championship with them last year in Florida. So it's I don't know. I've kind of talked about this with John Bishop, where I don't want to call it a down year for the SEC because they're going to get about 9 teams in the NCAA tournament, but it definitely isn't what it was last year. I mean, last year we were like, whoa, Auburn, incredible. Florida, incredible. Alabama, incredible. They had 3 different teams who you could easily say, hey, could maybe make the Final Four, potentially win a national championship. I don't know. I think if you're going off of odds here, you could technically say that the Big East has a better chance at winning a national championship than the SEC does, because after Florida, your next highest seed is Vanderbilt, and I think Vanderbilt is very inconsistent at this point, especially when they play top competition, where the Big East has Connecticut. So kind of, once again, I'm not gonna call a season for a conference that has 9 bids in the NCAA tournament a down year. That would be foolish. That'd be dumb. But it's definitely not what it was last season. So. Yesterday, Iowa ended up losing to Wisconsin. That was a good win for Wisconsin. I don't know I think there's a lot of teams in the Big Ten that have just kind of they've kind of ridden this wave in the Big Ten of like, okay, one day you look great, and the next day you're playing a quality team, you don't have your best stuff, and you kind of get got. And that's what happened to Wisconsin. Like Wisconsin's loss to Ohio State literally just boiled down to they rolled out of bed the wrong way. They went to Columbus and they just didn't shoot well. Like John Blackwell had 14 points. Dick Boyd had 14 points. They just did not have their top stuff. And then Bruce Thornton had 27 and Devin Royal had 25, and that was the game. Like it just that stuff can happen in the Big Ten, happens in the SEC, and happens in the Big 12. I still like Wisconsin. I think it was a really, really good bounce back win. for them against Iowa yesterday. I'll tell you right now, like, Nebraska hasn't necessarily had the best luck with their early season wins developing in the right way. Like, Creighton hasn't had a good season. Kansas State fell off the map after they played them. Oklahoma went like a whole month without winning a game. Nebraska beat these teams in the non-com, and unfortunately they didn't get lucky and have them end up playing good basketball like throughout the entirety of the season. One win, though, that keeps aging like fine wine is that Wisconsin win. I mean, beating that Wisconsin team, the way that they whooped their butt, I think they won that game by 30. And now Wisconsin is, ranked in the AP poll and handling business in the Big Ten, getting some signature wins over Michigan and Illinois. And, now with a really good win against Iowa yesterday, that win just keeps getting better and better. A win that will also continue to get better and better. USA men's Olympic hockey team defeating Team Canada yesterday. We talk about it here on Middays with Matt. Got a great show ahead of you here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
I didn't think that we had to mention his name. I thought it was over. I thought it was done. I was happy that it was done. I actually hated how I had to learn who this guy was and then waste so much time and breath and thought and anger on him.
Oh no, the Alabama guy.
Charles Bediako has filed an appeal to the Alabama Supreme Court amid his eligibility denial. He is seeking interim injunctive relief, allowing him to play while the appeal is pending. So this guy could just be back. The king of appeals, if you will, Charles Bediako. The king of temporary restraining orders and injunctives and whatever the hell that you want to call them. I'm so sick and tired of this. Like, dude, you can't play. We made the decision. You all like what are we doing here? Like, we've established you were already in the NCAA. You had already played college basketball. There was a rule that you were very cognizant of that established if you were to go to the NBA that you give up your eligibility. You knowingly and willingly accepted that reality, and because you failed professionally, now you want to come back to college to I don't know how much money he's making or if he's making any money, but obviously just become relevant again. And I mean, there's got to be some monetary value involved in this. So it's ridiculous. I don't understand why we have to keep doing this. And it's just weird. It's just weird. And we'll see what the decision is if he gets this injunction. And then we have to figure out how long the appeal is going to last, how long he can end up playing. And I mean, at that point, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's only got a half a year of eligibility left anyway, so it wouldn't really matter at that point. So this might be just Alabama's way to get this guy to play through March. But it I don't know, is what it is. I thought we were done with this. Now we're not done with this. Okay, moving on. Things that will make me happy. How about that? We keep that as the theme of the show today. Things that won't make me mad, because Charles Bediako just makes me.
Today's a happy day.
It is a happy day. Do you know why it's a happy day, Josh Hodson? Because for the first time in 46 years, the USA Olympics men's hockey team defeated Canada to win a gold medal. First time in 46 years, the USA Olympic men's hockey team wins gold. This is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal. This is a monumentally big deal. That USA men's hockey won a gold medal. There are a lot of men's hockey players, a lot of United States men's hockey players that have won Stanley Cups. Until yesterday, there were only 37 who ever won a gold medal. Okay. There have been some of the greatest men's hockey players from the United States who have attempted this feat, who have attempted to win a gold medal and have failed and haven't been able to do it. This group of men yesterday, which included Connor Hellebuck, who put on one of the best performances I've ever seen from a goalie, from Jack Hughes, who even before yesterday's game, I thought was the best player on the United States men's hockey team.
Oh, sure, Matt. I believe that. Oh, no, you actually tweeted that.
I tweeted it
like a week ago.
I made it. I was just watching the kid. I was like, he's the best player. He was the best player all tournament long for them. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm so glad everybody else made it here. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. But, there are a lot of people who did not watch the Latvia game and the Sweden game. And I guess some people might have watched the Slovakia game. But, the point is the point. He was incredible the entire time. I thought, and here's a name that I didn't ever think would be on Omaha Sport Radio. Thought Jacob Slavin, number 74, the defenseman, had a phenomenal game yesterday for the Americans. Charlie McAvoy, the man who got injured in the Four Nations tournament last year, who couldn't play in the USA Canadian final of the Four Nations, made one of the plays that we just kind of like glossed over. Like, I always thought that Julian Edelman catch against the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl never got as much love as it deserved. I immediately thought that Charlie McAvoy and literally him putting his body out in front of the net did not get enough credit. But I thought Matthews played a 200-foot defensive game. maybe was a little lazy on the offensive end, but he made some really good defensive plays. Quinn Hughes was absolutely phenomenal the entire tournament. Dylan Larkin made some really good plays. Matthew Boldy splits two of the best defensemen in the world, and Devontae's and Cale Makar to score that buttery goal. There was just a lot of I thought the JT Miller, Vincent Trocheck, Brock Nelson line was really impressive, held their own against the best line of McKinnon, Celebrini, and McDavid. I just thought the team, and we'll get into the semantics of everything that happened after the game, but thought it was a really well-constructed roster. It was a roster that was kind of built to beat Canada and handle the offense of Canada. I think goaltending development in the United States has been at the top of the game for years and years and years now. And I know that because it almost became a regular, and I can't speak to it, from a Canadian hockey perspective, but when I started playing hockey when I was 5, this would have been in 2008, having like a goalie coach was a cool thing. By the time I was like 16, you had to have a goal. Like every team had a goalie coach. You had to have a specific goalie coach. And I think that there has been a really, really good initiative when it comes to developing American hockey goalies, and like even Jake, Swayman and Ottinger, who are the backups for USA men's hockey. Even those are really good options to have, especially in an international tournament like the Olympics. And so Hellebuck, put on a phenomenal performance. And so let's talk about the post. Let's talk about the post game. Okay. Canada had more shots. Canada controlled the game more.
Like a lot more shots.
Canada played better defense than the United States. They did a great job of keeping everything to the boards. The United States could not get as much zone time as Canada could. I think on 5-on-5, Canada really put a ton of pressure on the United States, put a ton of pressure on their centers. They got their defense involved so beautifully in offense. It was really, really hard to defend. And the only reason why the United States won that game was because of Connor Hellebuck, was because of just the phenomenal performance that he put on. And, United States won because Hellebuck was awesome, but they also won because they got a little bit lucky, right? Nathan McKinnon missing that shot that was just a wide open net. He does not miss that shot ever, and he missed it. And it was really funny to see Canadians get on Twitter, be like, well, we controlled the game, and we were the better team, and you know who the better team was, and all this and all the, blah, blah. I'm like, do you not know the sport you created? Do you not understand the beauty of the sport that you claim to be yours? This is why hockey is awesome. Because there really isn't any other sport that we watch consistently where one man can just roll out of bed the right way and it doesn't matter what you do that day. It just does not matter. The goalie and the goalie factor in hockey, and the fact that you can just have one man just put on such an incredible performance that everything else doesn't matter, makes the sport so much fun, makes the sport unique, makes the sport thrilling. How much fun was it watching just Hellebuck stand on his head? How much fun was it getting nervous, right? And be like, oh my God, they're going to score here, and then boom, save, boom, save, boom, save. How much fun was it?
It was terrifying, but at a certain point, I was like, I think he's just going to stop everything.
Yes, it was incredible. It was phenomenal. I don't know, man. It's one of those things that yesterday's it was more than just the United States winning, and we'll get to the stakes of that. But also the fact that the game was as thrilling as it was a win for hockey. It wasn't at all just the U.S. just won 3-1 and the U.S. just played well. No, the fact that game had so much drama, the fact that game was so exciting, the fact that there were just incredible things that happened that even people who love the sport hadn't really seen before. That stick save behind his back, okay? I've only ever seen that happen once, okay?
And now he's got to go back to Winnipeg, and they have to cheer him as a hero.
Yes.
Austin Matthews has to go back to the Maple Leafs, and they have to be like, Austin Matthews!
Yeah, gold medal winner. It's just, it was more than the U.S. just winning. It was the fact that was the showcase of hockey that we were able to see, and people who may not be familiar with the sport were able to watch some of the best form of the sport was great for the game. It was phenomenal for the game. And it was so funny to me that the Canadians had just fully lost the grasp of what hockey is because they lost, because they were so mad and so angry and so upset. The goalie is what makes hockey beautiful.
You think they'd be used to it? They haven't won the gold since 2014.
Good point, Josh. So that was funny. Nathan McKinnon being like, I think we all know who the better team was. It's funny, Nate. Hope you're listening. In the arena that you typically play in, I don't know if he sees it, but there's this really big thing that's in the middle. Sometimes it's a box. Sometimes it might be more of a sphere type shape, more rounded shape. But anyway, on that big box or sphere, on every side, right, it's digital. We put up numbers, okay? Put up numbers.
Oh, yeah, just random numbers?
No, not random numbers.
Oh, okay, not random.
The numbers actually indicate how many times the puck was put into the net. And what you want to do, mate, is you want to make sure that your number is higher than the other team's number.
Well, maybe Italy didn't adopt those new scoreboards where you can see it from the floor.
Okay, but maybe Nathan, when he's sitting there getting his stuffed animal and his silver place medal, could have looked up at the scoreboard and saw that the United States had a higher number than his team did. And in sports, typically, those numbers, that's what we determine who the better team is. Okay? That's
Why does Nate not animals to the silver medalists? They don't want it.
It's so good. So here, it's just so stupid. Oh, we know who the better team was. If you were the better team, you would have won. I'm sorry. If you were the better team, you would have scored that goal. If you were the better team, it ain't, man. It's all fun, but you got to finish, right? Like it's one of those things where it's like, I was a third line player, and I love to hit and I love to dump and I love to go and chase the puck and 2-1-2 and all that stuff. But like, none of what I did mattered if the first line couldn't come out and score. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like okay, we did a bunch of really good things and we got the puck on net and we were able to, take time, but if the first line doesn't come out and score and do their job, then what is the point of us, right? Like you have to score. All those other things are great, but you have to score. And Canada couldn't score. Why couldn't they score? Because the United States had a great goalie. So get out of here with the, better team this and better team that. You know what? I don't give a damn who you think the better team was. I give a damn if you score more goals than the other side at the end of the game. And that's what the United States did. So here's the funny thing too. The whole 3-on-3 overtime conversation. I agree. I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. I don't think we should determine, the winner of the Olympic medal with 3-on-3, because 3-on-3 is not hockey. 3-on-3 is a mini game.
That was pretty great.
John Cooper is totally right. You take 4 players off the ice, it's a completely different game. It's not the same thing. I find it rich, though. I find it rich that the team who had Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, Drew Doughty is the one bitching and moaning and complaining about 3-on-3 hockey. Do you know who, if we had a 3-on-3 hockey draft, I think the first 5 draft picks would have come from the Canadian team. Like, if anybody were more equipped to play 3-on-3 hockey, it's the Canadians. They are the ones who are meant to play 3-on-3. They have the perfect 3-on-3 roster, and they still lost because you can't finish. You could not beat Connor Hellebuck. You could not finish around the net. You could not score. That's why you lost.
A lot of that going around in Canada. The Oilers lost the Stanley Cup final. The Blue Jays lost the World Series.
It's just, it's great. Canadian hockey Twitter met college football Twitter yesterday.
It was so similar.
And it was
and Americans were like, yeah, we can do this. We can roll around in the mud.
Well, it was great, though, because college football Twitter, everybody knows that if you're on the back foot, you make memes. Okay. And then if you're even on the farther back foot, then you just start being sarcastic and you start calling people losers. And so the Canadian hockey Twitter, they were trying to make hockey points. And college football Twitter is like, dude, this is our fourth sport. We
Yeah.
beat you. You suck. So there you go. It's a monumental win for the United States. It's a monumental win for USA Hockey. Yesterday was where were you? You'll remember where you were when it happened. It was a momentous occasion in sports. 46 years it hadn't happened. It happened yesterday in Italy. It was Jack Hughes had an incredible post game talking about the team, talking about the USA Hockey Brotherhood, saying how proud he is to be an American. That man, along with his brother, won the hearts and minds and fandom of so many people. Even if you're not a hockey fan, you know who Jack Hughes is now. That's great for the game. That's great for the United States. It's great for the NHL. And look, yesterday's win was so good for hockey. It was so good for hockey because there are kids who are 10 to 15 years old who now they love Connor Hellebuyck and they look at Jack Hughes as an American sport hero and they want to grow up and they want to play defense like Quinn Hughes. And there's going to be a kid who goes, hey, I'll be 86 if you be 43. That's what
awesome.
That's what it's going to turn into. And there's going to be brothers, right, who are going to wear 19 and 7 for Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk. And that's you can't manufacture that. You can't replicate that. You can't attempt to create that. That just happens naturally. And that's why sports are so beautiful. And so you now have, because of this win, 10 to 15-year-olds who have hockey idols in America. And also, too, you have 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds who might look at their mom and might look at their dad and say, hey, I want to try that. I want to skate on the ice. I want to play hockey. And some parents might say, hey, maybe not. And some parents might say, hey, hell yeah, let's do that. Like, okay, let's try. Like, let's do like, that's so good for the game. That's so healthy for the game. And it all happened because of one event, because of one match, because of 64 minutes of hockey. You can't beat that. Is it great for the NHL? TBD. Probably. It probably is. But I don't think anybody's watching that game saying, "Oh, I want to watch the San Jose Sharks tomorrow."
Right.
Like
I think if one of those teams with one of those players can get to the finals, maybe there's a little bump there. But
sure.
I see what you're saying.
Like I think you're a Jack Hughes fan, but I don't think there's any way you became a Philadelphia Flyer fan yesterday. There's this. I don't think he said like, "Oh wow, Dylan Larkin's great. I want to watch all the Detroit Red Wings hockey games now." Like I just maybe they'll get a little bit of a bump. Like when these guys come back and they have their ceremonies, they get a ratings bump. And, maybe there are some TV executives who say, wow, hockey on this global of a level did such a great job. Maybe we invest more in the National Hockey League. Maybe maybe ESPN says we're going to put more time and effort and production into our hockey games. Or maybe we'll put PK Subban on more on First Take or something like that, right? Or we'll give more of a block to hockey. Maybe that happens. But I don't think – I think yesterday was great for the game. I think yesterday was great for United States hockey. I think it was great for the interest of hockey. I think it was great for current hockey players. I think yesterday was a culmination of an insane amount of hard work from the USA Hockey Organization to get the United States to the point where they could beat Canada, because it's been a long, long time coming, and there's been a lot of time and a lot of effort to producing this win from a lot of different people. I don't know if I don't think the NHL is going to be great for them. I'll tell you this right now: you better have a Four Nations next year, right?
Yeah.
Like you gotta. How I would approach this is I would go Four Nations next year, and you have your rematch. You call it the rubber match, USA versus Canada. Then you give it like 2 years of break.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a Four Nations for 2 more years. And then I would do a Four Nations, and then you have the next Olympics. And then you repeat the same cycle. Four Nations 1 year before the Olympics. Then you have the Olympic break.
1 year after.
And then you have a Four Nations 1 year after.
Take a break.
And then you take a 2-year break. I think that's the perfect way. And the more the United States wins, the better it will be. 2 more points before we head to break, because we spent a lot of time on this.
I've got a couple bullet points as well that we don't have to go into them. I just want to get them out into the...
Number 1. The honoring of Johnny Gaudreau.
That was one of mine. Yep.
Was one of the most fantastic things I've seen in sports.
So many times when those players put a jersey in the locker room, I don't want to use the word performative because that implies that like it's fake.
Yeah.
But you could...
This was genuine.
This was real. This was you're still family.
And Zach Werenski has put so much time and so much effort into making sure that the memory of Johnny and Matthew, his brother too, Matthew Gaudreau, never fades away. And that we always remember these 2 men who their lives were taken way too soon. And Johnny Gaudreau would have been, there's no doubt in anybody's mind who knows hockey, Johnny Gaudreau would have been on this team. And for them to then go and grab his 2 kids and bring them on the ice, and they'll probably never remember that picture because they're very young, but they'll always have that.
Hey, on your 2nd birthday, we won the gold medal, and you came on the ice and had a fun time.
Absolutely incredible. It was one of the most. It was incredible. It was very emotional. It's hard not to get emotional, especially when you know the story of the Gaudreaus, and they just weren't hockey players, man. They were hockey legends, especially on the East. And the guy's name was Johnny Hockey. I mean, he's the Hobie Baker Award winner. I mean, he was.
If you don't know, like, okay, who's this guy? Like, okay, I kind of remember that story in the news. His nickname was Johnny Hockey.
Yeah.
Okay, like
he was more like, he just wasn't like a great hockey player. Like, he was a phenomenon, man. Like,
that'll catch you up pretty quick.
Yeah, he was the dude. So that was great. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where Jack Hughes was right. Like, they were a brotherhood. They were a team. They were together. And it's weird when you get a bunch of guys that you're so used to competing against, and you put them all on one roster, and then you expect them to go out and perform. But that group really came together, and that was phenomenal to see. I said I was going to make one more point. I kind of lost it in Johnny Hockey. You have any other bullet points?
One more point.
Okay.
Everyone who is a potential sports broadcaster, every college,
great job, Josh.
Get a copy of that game. Kenny Albert, Eddie Olczyk, and Mike Tirico did one of the best broadcasts I have ever seen, full stop, period. They handled the moment. They met the moment. They great analyzing of the game as it's happening, after it happened, great camera, just perfection.
The send-off from Tirico too was phenomenal. I was a little worried that we might get too Tirico'd this year with how much that he's done. He's done so many events. He did the Super Bowl, did the Olympics. He's, in basketball, like, he's just on NBC. I mean, NBC has really thrown their hat into the ring when it comes into sports, and he has been at the forefront of that. I worried. I'm like, I don't want to get too Mike Tirico'd. I love Mike Tirico. I don't want to get to the point where I'm like, I'm done listening to him and I'm done watching him. I'm not. He is the best in the business right now. Full stop, bar none. Man, I don't know. I don't want to speculate or whatever. And I know things might have happened, but Eddie Olczyk was the longtime Chicago Blackhawks color commentator my entire childhood. And he was so good with the Hawks. And then he became national, and then things happened, and then he's no longer with the Hawks. But I hate that I don't get to listen to Eddie Olczyk every time the Chicago Blackhawks are playing, because he is awesome. He didn't pull out his signature line, though. He always used to go, for all you young hockey players out there.
He didn't say it the whole game. Wow.
I know. That was his thing. Dad would pause the TV and he'd go, come here, come into the room. And then he'd play Eddie O, and then Eddie would go ahead and tell you what you need to do. And then that wasn't just like a Mike McMaster thing. That was every hockey dad paused the TV, brought the kid in, and said, listen to Olczyk. So he was phenomenal. Kenny Albert underrated in everything.
Definitely.
In everything. I think he's underrated in everything. I think Kenny Albert was basically my local Bears broadcaster, because the Bears were terrible, and they would get and Kenny just got the worst matchups all the time for God knows what reason. So I don't know. Kenny hasn't called too many good football games, but
Glad he got rewarded there.
But he always, man, he's always done well. I like Albert and I like Washut for hockey too. I think Bob Washut is one of the best hockey broadcasters. Along with Sean McDonough is pretty good. I don't want to slant Sean. I think hockey's
you can tell Sean likes the sport.
I think hockey's in a very healthy spot when it comes to announcers, and also like you got some pretty good color analysts as well. So great for hockey, great for the United States. Awesome game. Did you see the phone call Donald Trump into the men's locker room?
No, I didn't.
So Kash Patel.
I did see that.
Was in the locker room.
Yes.
So Kash, and this is not a political conversation. He called Donald Trump, and whatever side of the aisle you might sit on, I don't think you can deny that it's pretty cool when you just, for people, when they get to talk to a president. There's only so many presidents ever in history.
The president's on the phone.
Yeah, when the president calls into a locker room to talk, like that was pretty dope. He invited them to the State of the Union. So I guess they're going to the State of the Union. He had a great line. He goes, "I'm going to shake every one of your hands, but I have to shake the hand of that goaltender." So once again, you don't have to be a fan of the right or the left or Donald or anything like that. But we can all acknowledge it was pretty cool when he called in. Congratulated them on winning event. But that's our hockey segment. There you go. We'll talk to you during the playoffs.
This concludes our hockey coverage
I'm gonna
until
April. Seriously. Like, that's the problem with the NHL. It's just not one of those things where we're really going to cover too much that happens other than, the Ovechkin goal chase, which already occurred, or maybe some, cool novelty things that happen. And that's something that they got to fight through and they got to figure out themselves. But we'll see what the after effect is in terms of this game. I think it's great for hockey. I don't think it'll do anything for the NHL. Do a lot for Jack Hughes, though. That guy is Canada's #1 enemy. Stole your game, stole your medal, stole your girl.
Yeah, that relationship's over, right?
No way. If anything, wouldn't it make him more attractive? He's a bad boy.
If you are Justin,
but Daddy, I love him.
Who runs Canada? Is it still Justin Trudeau?
No, it's some other.
That guy needs to call Tate and say, "Look, we're gonna deport you if you don't break up with this guy."
Canada Prime.
It is not safe for you to date this man anymore.
We really know who the Canadian Prime Minister is. Mark Carney.
Mark Carney.
He sounds like a mechanic.
Like a Carney.
He sounds like a mechanic from Columbus, Nebraska. Carney Automotive. Carney Mechanical Repair is what that sounds like. I don't know anything about Mr. Carney. I'm sure we'll get some tweets about it. We'll also get some tweets when we talk about Creighton basketball and Nebraska basketball and their entertaining weeks, to say the least. Coming up next, don't worry. Next hour, we'll have the odd news at 11:45 at 12 o'clock. We'll talk special teams because everybody loves to talk special teams. So we'll talk about that at the 12 o'clock hour. Then Mike Kerr joins us at 12:30. The coach of Omaha Softball, 12-1 to begin the year, the #1 team in mid-major softball, along with Robin Washut at 120. All that and more here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
this time has gone on about that situation. So we'll talk about it. I was a man of strong opinions when that all went down. Probably less strong about some of the opinions that you have when you get more and more information about it. But I do think still it's an interesting conversation to have. We'll also kind of thread in as well. Sam McCune had a very interesting article in the Omaha World Herald today talking about Nebraska's financial situations. Sam kind of dared to go where no man had gone before in a way, because
it's good journalism.
Well, it is. It is. I'm not saying like I disagree. It is good journalism. It's one of those things where like money and talking about money in college sports has always been weird because we don't have the figures. Like we just don't have the pieces of paper that say how much each team is spending, right? And so it's kind of, number one, it's hard to quantify. It really is just all he said, she said, and this is what I'm hearing and having sources and whatnot. And then it's also, guesstimation, right? Matt Rhule, if anyone were to be in the know in terms of what rosters cost, it would be the head coach of Nebraska. And the figures that he gives are 40 to 50 million, which is a pretty big gap, if you ask me, in variance in terms of what teams are spending. Matt Rhule, and for the right reasons, by the way, for the complete right reasons, is not going to say, Ohio State, according to my sources, spent $44 million. I can tell you right now, we spent $27 million on our roster. By the way, I'm just making up those numbers, okay? He's not going to say that because whatever the gap might be, people will overreact to that. And also, too, there would be a lot of opinions being like, oh, he's just giving excuses. It's not in his best interest to say those numbers and to reveal what the gap might actually be between Nebraska and those top teams. But he can allude to them. And I think he's done a really good job at asking for outwardly asking for financial help and saying, hey, we need more resources and we need more money. He's done a good job of doing that while not being rude about it and not being desperate about it, and still recognizing that, it's not all about the money. I mean, he kind of said it himself, we don't need as much necessarily to beat the top teams in the country, but there's a certain limit. Like there's a line that you have to cross. There's a threshold that you have to break through in order to be competitive with those teams. And I think he's done a good job of, in the best way he possibly can, without coming off in a negative connotation, communicated that to people. And obviously when he communicates it to the media and he communicates it to the fans, he's also communicating it to boosters. And he's communicating it to Troy Dan and to everybody in the athletic department. And I think he's done a pretty good job with that. And so Sam, writes in this article some really interesting things about what is stopping Nebraska from being able to compete with the top teams when it comes to money. Is there anything that they can do in terms of that? And kind of what is the vibe in and around the program when it comes to these kind of dollar figures? We're going to talk about that at 12 o'clock along with Mike Ekeler and the things that he had to say. Quickly, I want to touch, though, on basketball here in the state. Big game, big road trip coming up for the Omaha Mavericks. They play on Wednesday and Saturday. They're going to go ahead and play South Dakota on Wednesday and then follow that up. And on Saturday, they'll go to Minnesota and play St. Thomas. Paul Jobet and Valentino Simon have been the straws that have been stirring the drink for the Mavericks over the last couple of games. Are finally hitting their stride after a pretty tough beginning of the season for the Mavs. But granted, they didn't have Jobet until about the end of December. So they got their guys with Glover and Stubblefield and, Osborne kind of hitting their strides as well. Cam Thomas is playing some of the best defense in the country. I mean, that guy's long, man. That dude's an athlete. I mean, he's the type of guy that you want, playing the wing. And so that'll be on CBS Sports, by the way, the Omaha, South Dakota game at South Dakota. And then on Saturday, they'll go ahead and they'll play the Tommies. That game will be at 7 p.m. Currently, right now in the Summit League standings, Omaha is fourth. They're they're a half game ahead of Denver. And then they are 2 full games ahead of South Dakota. They're a game and a half behind North Dakota. So that game against South Dakota will be pretty big to make sure that they stay in the top 4 of the standings. They will have a shot to win the Summit League for the second year in a row. Definitely not the favorites in the tournament, but trending in the right direction. Nebraska played a get-right game against Penn State. Josh Hodson, I'm here to report. They got right.
They got right.
They got right. They got right. Was it the best performance in the first half? No.
No.
No. It was a little sloppy. And I think, them leading the first half definitely had more so to do with Penn State not playing well as opposed to them playing well. They went scoreless from 11:40 to 7:40, and they went on a full ass 4-minute scoring drought against one of the worst teams, worst Power 5 teams in the country. But then they found their stride. They scored 38 points in the first half. They kind of got things going in the final 4 minutes. Leo Curtis, had some pretty good minutes. And then in the second half, they made it rain. Nearly 50 points in the second half. Bryce Sanford, what a stud. What a guy. 8 3-pointers, averaging 18 points. Definitely on his way to becoming a contender to be on the All Big Ten first team at the end of the season. We'll see how some of his final performances work out. But Price has been incredible. One of the more, I still feel like he's underrated in terms of his transfer portal acquisition. If we're going from like a value perspective, like how much did Nebraska pay? And this is something, once again, because of the money and we don't know, right? We're just speculating. But I don't know if there's been a better like wins above value acquisition in the transfer portal than Bryce Sanford. Like, there are guys in the transfer portal who teams paid way more money to get Bryce Sanford. And Price is playing better than a lot of those guys and leading Nebraska to one of their best seasons in team history. I mean, this is a guy that couldn't get a ton of run on a not good Iowa basketball team last year, who there were 2 guys on that Iowa basketball team who were way more sought after and very much way more like there was a bidding war for multiple guys on that team that weren't Bryce Sanford. Price ends up going to Nebraska, ends up being their best player, averaging 18 points at 8 3-pointers, is already broken the NU single season 3-point record, having an incredible year, had over 30 points against Penn State. Jamarcus Lawrence went down in that game. I don't know. Have we gotten an update on, I haven't seen an update on Jamarcus's injury. Regardless though, I mean, this is kind of the time of year where, you definitely, the minutes can potentially start wearing down on you. And, I think Maryland is a team that if they want to load manage in a smart way and maybe give some guys a little bit of rest that you think will need it, kind of a little bit what they did with Rink Mask against Oregon and Washington, this would be the opportunity to take that. Also, you got to remember, Bearcat Buchtenjo did not play. Illness. Can we get some emergency in the Nebraska locker room?
Yeah,
or something like
that's
that?
a slow-moving virus going
Very
through
much
that
so.
locker room. Normally, it's like, okay, half the team had it one weekend, the other half had it the next weekend. I mean, this is going on a month now.
It's been a little ridiculous. So, Jamarcus, he tweaked his ankle. It didn't swell that much, according to Fred Hoiberg. So we will see. Probably on the more limited side. Probably maybe just rest him against Maryland. Creighton gets their butts whooped against St. John's. Not shocked. There is not a team in the country that matches up better to Creighton than St. John's. They do everything well on the defensive end that shuts down Creighton's best attributes on the offensive end. They do everything well on the offensive end that takes advantage of Creighton's weaknesses. They were getting to the paint. They were touching the paint. They were hitting elbow jumpers. They were using their physicality. They were putting a ton of pressure on the ball on the defensive end. They were switching on everything. Creighton couldn't find good matchups on the offensive end, and Zuby Ejiofor. Just to have Zuby Ejiofor alone is a nightmare for Creighton. To have Zuby Ejiofor and a Bryce Hopkins is a whole other story. They combined for 30 points. Just a very dominant performance from St. John's. But Matt kind of mentioned in the postgame, like, they're not going to get down on themselves because they went on the road and took on 2 of the better teams in the country. St. John's is on like a 13-game win streak right now. And they went 1-1. There would be a lot of teams in the nation who, if they went on the road and played UConn and St. John's back-to-back one in Stores at Gamble, and one at Madison Square Garden, if they played those games and they went 1-1, they would be very, very happy. They would take that result, and Creighton should take that result. The game against DePaul is going to be wildly interesting. For Creighton, it's an important game for the standings in the Big East. You don't want to, you want to get that initial bye, right? They're kind of fighting for it right now. For DePaul, though, the stakes are much higher because they have just been wandering the wilderness of irrelevancy and just bad basketball for so many years now. And Chris Holtman seems like he's kind of slowly turning this program around in the second year. They're already competing to potentially get a bye in the Big East standings. And this game, man, is monumental for DePaul. I'm not going to say it's just another game for Creighton. It's an important game, but for DePaul, I mean, how much progress would that show if the Blue Demons beat Creighton twice in one season after not beating them for 11 years? I mean, that would show an incredible amount of progress for that program if they were able to pull that off. So, DePaul, even though they're going to be on the road here in Omaha, I think they're going to be amped up and ready to go in that game. I don't know, man. I was thinking about this over the weekend, just weird thoughts. Like, Big East might be in a pretty good spot in a couple of years. Might be in a pretty good spot. Like, I think you look at Marquette and Creighton, and I think it'd be foolish to think that this is going to be a trend as opposed to a novelty. Like, I think it would be foolish to think that Creighton and Marquette are just not going to be that good for the next couple of years. I think it'd be way more intelligent to think that they are going to find a way, whether it be through the portal or just development of players, to have better seasons in the future. And so you match that up with having UConn and St. John's, which with their coaches and with the infrastructure they have just seem like wagons. Kevin Willard in his first year at Villanova has made that team an NCAA tournament team. Then you can count on, I think, Creighton and Marquette to get back to where they were in the next couple of years, right? So immediately you have just 5 good programs, 5 good teams in the Big East. And then look at what DePaul is doing, right? I mean, DePaul's trending in the right direction. Seton Hall, probably not going to make the tournament, but, they've had a better year, to their standards. I wouldn't be surprised in 3 years if you get more than 5 teams in the Big East making an NCAA tournament. I mean, I think that if kind of things even like get back to where they were and then these trends of certain programs continue to go upward, I think the Big East is going to be a very competitive, a way more competitive conference in the future than it is now. And I think that's really good for the league. I think it's really good for college basketball, just in general. So that's your local CBB update, along with some. We'll talk some football at 12 o'clock. There's a lot of interesting things to hit on, but nothing more interesting than our next segment. Coming up next, it's the Odd News with Josh Hodson here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
I see what we did there because, it's odd news and your last name's Oddson.
Yeah, you
and
get
so
it.
we put odd and ain't that funny? Ain't that a thing? Josh Oddson. What do we got, my friend?
Well, we have a slow computer is what we have. We have a
me too.
Perhaps
my computer had a heart attack during the break.
Perhaps a landmark ruling on one of the greatest lawsuits of our time. As we're going to go the mobile route. It's just quicker that way.
Go ahead.
A man passionate about chicken.
Okay, me too.
Okay, then you'll get this story.
I love chicken.
He said, "Hey, like Buffalo Wild Wings is out in these streets calling these boneless wings.
Yeah.
These are not boneless wings. That is deceptive marketing." Eamon Halem filed a lawsuit against Buffalo Wild Wings in March of 23, challenging what he called the false and deceptive marketing and advertising of Buffalo Wild Wings boneless wings. The suit alleged the product's name misleads customers into thinking they are made of deboned chicken wings.
Okay.
Rather than fried chicken breast meat. If you can spot the distinction there. Specifically, the name and description of the products leads reasonable consumers to believe the products are actually chicken wings.
This is just loser action.
How can I make a bunch of money without having to do any work, without having to go to a place every day?
This is a loser activity.
Great take by you,
and it's just like, who? Can I be honest with you? Who gives a flying flip? I don't give a damn whether it's nuggets or breast or this. I don't give. I couldn't give less of an S. I wish the FCC didn't exist so I could frustratingly swear. This is dumb.
I do want to commend Buffalo Wild Wings for their response to this lawsuit. On social media, they posted back in 2023 when the lawsuit was first filed, and we brought you the story here on the Odd News. Quote, "It's true. Our boneless wings are all white meat chicken. Our hamburgers contain no ham. Our buffalo wings are 0% buffalo."
Yeah.
You got us.
Yeah, you got him. Great job, man. You really killed it. What's next? I'm sick and tired of that already.
New Guinness World Record for us to try and beat here. Serial Guinness World Record breaker David Rush, you may have heard this name on this segment before, celebrated his birthday by teaming up with family and friends to break the record for fastest time to stack 20 dice into 2 towers. Chance, if you're listening, I put this in here for you. Rush said he was celebrating his birthday when he recruited his brother Jonathan, his sister-in-law Courtney, and a friend to attempt a Guinness World Record. The challenge sounds simple. 10 dice stacked into 1 tower, 10 dice stacked into another, 4 people working together. Stop the clock when the 20th die is perfectly in place. He said the team experienced dozens of collapsing towers during their attempts. Okay. But here is the thing about chasing records. You do not stop because it is frustrating. You keep going because it is possible, Rush said, taking his life way too seriously.
Yes, there you go.
We adjusted hand placement. We slowed down just enough to be precise. We communicated better. We trusted each other. And the team of 4 was able to assemble the 2 towers in 10.16 seconds, beating the previous record of 11.39 seconds. Wow.
We need to get better hobbies in America.
Why not? I think people should go back to reading.
Thank you. You know what? I'm reading right now. Okay.
So you can say this too.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time. It's a good book. It's called Dark Matter. It's kind of sci-fi-y, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. Like you know what? The weather's clearing up here. I have a meeting tomorrow with my buddy who I golf with. We're setting up our dates to golf. Right? Okay. That's it. Get outside, touch some grass, get some exercise in. Why are we stacking dice in 10 seconds and acting like it's this massive accomplishment?
So I can get my name in Guinness Book of World Records for the 400th time.
You're not going to get out. You know what?
I don't think it's a physical book anymore.
Not Wacky Guess Wednesday. I do not want this tower stacking guy on Wacky Guess Wednesday. I don't find him interesting. I find him to be not interesting. And I don't want to really make fun of him all that much and be too rude, but it just, come on, guy.
Your life is a sham.
There you You said it, not me. I don't disagree, though. Our final odd news story, Josh.
We go to Clearwater, where a Florida man was arrested.
Oh, my God. This, first off.
Okay. I'm not very far in.
The best odd news stories always begin with a Florida man
sure.
or an Ohio woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those are our blue chip prospects,
It's
if you will.
funny you say that because I had a story about an Ohio woman and a rotisserie chicken, but it got it got a little racial.
Oh, okay. Jeez,
some of the things she was shouting at other patrons.
God.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, not appropriate.
Yeah.
So I threw the story.
But those are if we're rating on 247 our best odd news. Those are our blue chip from Louisiana, 6'7", 330 pounds offensive tackles.
You just know you're never going to get something like this here in Omaha.
What did this Florida man do to get arrested?
He drove 129 miles per hour.
Whoa!
Because his McDonald's order took too long during his work break. He had to get back. A Clearwater official conducting speed enforcement on Highway 19 reported seeing a vehicle operated by 19-year-old Christopher Garcia Caminos going an estimated 120 miles an hour in the southbound lane. The officer's radar system registered the car at 129, despite the posted speed limit of 55.
Oh, my God.
The Florida man told police that McDonald's took too long to make his food and he was rushing back to work because he only had a few minutes left on his break. The teen told police he believed he was going 100, according to the affidavit. Clearly, no injuries, really no harm, no foul. However, a super speeder law recently went into effect in Florida. If you were going over 50 miles an hour over the speed limit, or are caught going 100 or higher, you can get jailed or a higher fine.
Jeez.
So he will definitely get that higher fine.
Okay, so here's the thing. If this guy was like 28, I might have believed him. Like if he was an older guy, been around the block, had worked for a while, took his job seriously, I would kind of be like, I kind of get that. 129 is excessive, but I understand the speeding very fast back to get back to your job because you have respect for your workplace. 19-year-old, this kid just wants to go fast. This kid just wanted to to put the pedal to the metal. I think he knew what was going on.
Okay, I hadn't thought about this before you brought this up. 19 does seem pretty young to
be like, oh, I got to get back to, or I got to get back to. I'll be honest with you right now.
19-year-olds in this day and age are just going to be late.
You get back a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
A 19-year-old is never on time. Okay. All the young kids that I know.
You're 23.
We're always 5 minutes late. All right. I don't really know too many people my age, around my age, that really are. And this might be a problem in society, that are super have to be on the dot. Now, granted, I show up to work an hour to hour and a half before we go on the air every day. Okay. That's a different thing. But
Tom Coughlin is a dying breed.
Getting back to work to be a couple minutes late for your lunch break as a 19-year-old doesn't seem like it's that important not that important to go 129 miles an hour.
I would be super curious where he worked and could he not call his place of business and say,
but I don't think that's getting, I still
gonna
think,
be late.
Yeah. Isn't that easy to just call your boss and be like, hey, I went to go and get lunch at McDonald's. My bad. It's taking way too long. I'm so sorry. I'll be 5 minutes late. Won't be that whatever. Go 129. What type of job do you work is my next question. Are you in the government? Probably not as a 19-year-old.
19, yeah.
I don't know. I think that guy's full of crap.
I need the Clearwater PD to do a press conference and answer these questions.
He's completely full of crap. I think he's an idiot who was going too fast and made up some BS excuse. Very Florida. Finding it cool to go fast. See, Connor Happer finds that's stupid, like finds fighting stupid. He finds like MMA and boxing stupid. I find going fast for no reason very stupid. That's what I find stupid. The guys who are like weaving in and out of traffic and going 97 miles an hour, and you think it's cool to cut everybody off and like that. Dude, we're all going to the same place. It is not worth me going 30 miles an hour faster than the speed limit to get a ticket. It's not. It's not worth me going 20 miles an hour. Yeah, I'm going 5 to 7 over. Obviously.
Sure.
Obviously. I'm not a wuss. You know, I'm not a sissy. I'm not driving the speed limit, you know. But I ain't going 20 over. It's just not worth it.
If any of our fine law enforcement are listening, Matt usually leaves work around 2:30,
I'm
maybe
going
3
5 to
o'clock.
7. You ain't gonna get me. You already got me once. You're not gonna get me again. I will not happen again.
You ain't going back?
I ain't going back.
Okay.
I'm not falling for the speed limit going from 75 to 65 on my way down I-80 to Lincoln. I'm not falling for that again. All right. I know better now. You know what? Tickets work. Tickets work.
Tickets work.
I got one ticket in my life and I had to pay the citation. I will never get another ticket in my life. I will never do that again. I will never allow that to happen.
Wow.
I am a law-abiding citizen. When it comes to the road, I'm not breaking any laws anymore, officer. You got me. I paid one ticket. I'll never do it again. Just saying. Pretty effective, if you ask me.
Okay.
You made a good man out of me. Don't have to worry about it. All righty.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Coming up next, are we happy for Mike Ekeler? We answer that question here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Brian texts him.
Hi, Brian.
Maybe word that better.
Oh,
If
no.
you consistently drive 5 to 7 miles over the speed limit, can you be considered a law-abiding citizen?
Okay.
Absolutely.
I hear it now. I hear it.
I'm allowed. 5 to 7, you're allowed to do. They don't pull you. Have you been pulled over for going 4 over?
I have not. No.
Has anybody? All right.
I imagine it's
Text
happened.
in, call in, or tweet in if you've ever been pulled over for going 5 miles, and if you've ever been pulled over for going over 5 miles per hour, the speed limit. I've never heard of that. Poll question: is going 5 miles per hour over the speed limit legal?
Okay.
I think it's fine. We're gonna get a cop calling in, and being like, "This is not okay."
The speed limit is the speed limit.
But no one listens to you, Mr. Cop.
Whoa.
Is that Mr. Cop? Is that your... The speed limit is the speed limit.
That's my Mr. Cop.
Mr. Cop? What do you think, Mr. Cop? Mr. Beef and Mr. Cop should have a podcast together.
They're probably very good friends.
They're probably great friends, Mr. Beef and Mr. Cop. They probably were roommates in college together. And Mr. Beef was always like, oh, he's Mr. Beef. You know him. Like, he was that type of guy. They're kind of like the weird friend duo that no one really understood, but they were always side by side together.
Mr. Beef always did the things I wanted to do, but was too afraid to do.
So, you know what? If he had better direction, he'd be where I'm at, being the chief of the police department.
I don't know why that's my Mr.
Mr. Cop.
Mr. Cop.
Your Mr. Cop sounds like one of the 1920s Los Angeles Dodgers announcers. This game is tighter than a pair of leather shoes on a rainy day. As old Carly steps up to the mound, I'm Mr. Cop. John calls me out.
Hello, John.
He goes, I'm currently reading Middays with Matt in the same way you are reading a book with my earbuds. John is correct. John is correct. I listen to books. I don't read books.
I believe it counts if you retain the information.
I listen to books. I don't read the books. I did lie to a girl on the date, though, and tell her that I read.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Because we were hanging out, and Project Hail Mary was the book that I listened to, and it's coming out like it's a movie. So the trailer was on the TV. I was like, oh, have you know about that?
Nice.
She goes, yeah. She goes, yeah,
buddy.
I read that book. I go, me too. I read it. I told her I read it. I never told her I listened to it.
Yeah, no, you could talk about the same things. You could have the same conversation.
Is that an ass move? Because eventually I would have to reveal in technicality that am I a fraud?
Why would you eventually have to reveal it?
Good point. Well, I'm thinking in the long term, if I end up like actually having a long relationship with this woman.
There's if you were to talk about the book, you would be able to talk about it intelligently with her.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have your support.
Now, some people are going to
call me a fraud.
Yeah.
Some of those people just do that to do that.
That's true.
It just happens.
A lot of those guys out there.
My two favorites, John and Brian, keeping me honest. Alrighty. Oh, Corn Raider has an opinion.
Okay.
It does not count. Can you read a book while riding a bike or running? Reading takes commitment. I don't know. If I sit down, do you know what takes commitment? Listening to this book for 10 hours. That's commitment.
Well, yeah, you're not reading a book in one sitting.
The first book that I listened to was 16 hours.
Sure.
I could have watched The Godfather 5.5 times.
You should do that.
I'm sorry, I got to the horse scene. I just kind of lost.
Why do you stop there every time? It's very good after that.
I like horses. I don't like to see them be beheaded.
Okay.
It's like a horror movie to me. I'm kidding. Never seen a horror movie, though.
What?
Never once. I've never seen one horror movie.
Really?
I've never seen one horror movie at any point in my life. The only thing, the closest thing I've seen to a horror movie is The Invisible Man that came out recently. And that's like a thriller.
That's not her name. Moss.
Wow, Corn Raider's really mad about this. He goes, "You are
I told you,
misleading
people are going to
by
be real
saying
mad at
you
you.
read it. You can say that you consumed it." See, but that just sounds like I ate the
If
book.
you tell me you consumed a book, like our conversation's over. I'm walking away.
What are you
Consumed a book.
consuming nowadays, Matt? Well, the Hunger Games is, it's quite the consume turner because I'm not turning pages.
He can be quizzed on. He could do a book report on
I
it.
could do a book report on
He
it.
can be quizzed on the events of the book and do
No,
very well.
if Corn is trying to get off here that it's harder to read the book than to listen to the book, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think that is the crux of his argument. Reading takes commitment. You have to sit there.
You have to sit there and actually
in somewhat silence. Yeah,
process with your eyes. I get that. If you want to say reading is harder than listening, then you're better than me. Okay, there you go. I admit it. Ain't contest. From the 402.
Hi, 402.
Since she read the book, she will never ask you to borrow the hard copy. So you're good, Matt. See, bang. He gets it.
Okay. A lot of you are worried about how to dupe someone else into thinking you've read the book. I'm just saying you have the same information as someone who read the book.
They're going off of principle. You're going off of logic. Okay. Logically, you're correct. Who gives a damn? I know the same crap you do. I do. But from a principle perspective, it's all about what you're like. Did you accomplish the thing that you should accomplish? Wow, we have a lot of people who are. Corn goes, I work with a bunch of millennials. I'm used to generational ignorance.
Okay, that might be that frustration.
Sure, just boiling over into
creeping out,
middays with Matt.
And you're the target of it.
Where Charles goes, reading is for suckers.
Reading is for suckers.
Audiobook is the way to go.
Okay, people.
We
might have lost the plot of this conversation.
Ray, we have not lost the. If anything, we've gained the plot. Ray goes, reading/listening, same thing. I agree with Charles, says Ray. We have another text. John goes, all the Star Wars movies are horrible.
Where the hell did that come from?
Doesn't that mean they are horror movies?
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, I know you want to talk about Ekeler here. It's our noon segment. We usually devote it to
important things.
Something important. I'd really like to circle back to I've never seen a horror movie.
Haven't seen one. Have not seen one horror movie. I have no intention to do it either.
Gosh, just what a great date, though.
You know what? I have been saving that in my back pocket. But also, too, I'm going to be real. There might be some women who are listening to this who
probably
not, who would not be a fan of what I'm about to say. But if you tell me I love horror movies are my favorite thing ever, I love watching them. I'm not saying it's a red flag, but it's not akin to putting on lingerie, like I'm not overly attracted to that.
Okay.
Like you like seeing people freak the hell out and run all over the place and get killed, and you like the Chainsaw Masked Man.
It's fun to feel something.
I feel something watching a Matt Damon movie,
You love We Bought a Zoo.
I love We Bought a Zoo. Anytime Affleck and Matt are on, I feel a lot of things when Ben Affleck's on my screen. Just telling you. It has nothing to do with the lack of feeling while watching movies. I never watched them. I never really got into them. We have a text in from Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
I prefer to read the book, but in my case, I drive a lot, and a good audiobook is nice too.
Yeah.
My strong opinion on this is I have no opinion. If you know how to read, I don't think listening to an audiobook is bad at all. Just make sure you know how to read, and you can take the same information and apply it to life to pleasure. From the 402. Matt needs to listen to 50 Shades of Grey read by Gilbert Godfrey.
I forgot that that's a thing that exists.
Have you ever read an erotica book?
Yes, I have.
They are wildly popular.
Very.
Like super popular. I feel like my generation doesn't know what a guilty pleasure is. I see these YouTube videos of like, what's your guilty pleasure? And they're like, oh, I like chicken nuggets, like that's not That's not. There's nothing wrong.
I
with
do
that.
agree with the take that we don't know what a guilty pleasure
We
is.
have lost the plot of what a guilty pleasure
Yeah.
is. Reading erotica, I think, would be like, not me. I'm not saying I read it. I'm saying that would probably be a top guilty
Is
pleasure.
reading erotica a guilty pleasure?
1,000,000% it is.
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, you are, in society, we kind of shame people for at times trying to. Okay, I'm not going to get into this, but you know what I'm saying. You can put 2 and 2 together. That was
Yes,
veteran.
I can.
That was veteran radio right there. Not talking myself into a hole I knew I couldn't recover.
I was
For the people who are concerned about my mentorship,
hoping
I am learning.
to give you a lantern and leave you in that hallway.
If you are you willing to give me a horror movie to watch?
I could think of something. Sure.
Okay, so Sad Husker fan goes, I'd rather watch erotica. We get it. We get it. We didn't have to say that.
Versus what?
Reading it.
Oh,
poll question.
Would you rather read
it or watch it
or listen to it?
Or perform in it?
Here we go. I think we covered all 4 bases.
Yes,
there.
we did. We did. You're doing a great job with the poll question.
Yeah.
I love that you can take the poll questions out of the show, but you can't take you can take you can take away the poll questions from Josh Hodson, but you can't take the Josh Hodson away from the poll question.
That's right.
Even though I've established that it's not going to be a segment and we're not going to read them.
Just an instinct now at this point.
Except for Thursdays, which I've given you one day of the week.
You gave me an inch and I took a mile.
Yes, you just post them anyway for your own guilty pleasure. Your guilty pleasure is poll questions.
Maybe.
Poll questions a guilty pleasure?
Whoa. Meta.
Super meta. Hey, Cole Cabana, how you doing? By the way, I have to find it O'Hare this week. I am not looking forward to that. Pro tip, though, if you're in the B terminal, so what, I think it'd be Terminal 1, you're by the B gates, there's a Frontera right there. You know Frontera? They make the tortas and some soups and sandwiches and whatnot. It's like kind of a Mexican. It's not a great restaurant. It's like the best Frontera ever.
I follow.
It's great, but like if we're ranking Fronteras on a national basis, the O'Hare Frontera is known to be like the best in the country. And they have 2 of them there. There's one that's I think in like the C gates, but if you're at the B gates,
the bad one.
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
I typically get the Cubano and the corn and poblano chowder, if you will. If I may.
You may.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, all right. That was a riveting discussion that had nothing to do with what the tease was.
It happens from time to time.
Yeah, we get distracted. We like books and making fun of Matt for not knowing horror movies. Text from Zeke.
Hi, Zeke.
Matt. Oh, no. All right. I probably should read this before I say it on the air.
Yeah, don't just commit to it first. See, Corn Raider, he's reading the text.
Okay, here we go. Text from Zeke. This is good. Matt, I used to date a chick that would watch horror movies every year on Halloween. She loved them. I hated them and still do. I have no desire to be scared by movies, much the same as I don't like movies that make me sad. But mainly, I hate the stupidity of the people in the horror movies. If a house has ghosts, get the help out of there and don't go looking around in there in the dark. Thank you, Zeke.
Yeah, that's...
Whoever thought that going to an abandoned cabin in the woods was a good idea? Just go to a Marriott.
You just want to get away from it all.
Away from what?
The hustle and bustle. Just want to sit down with a good book.
Why do people like hustle and bustle? I love the hustle and bustle.
It's draining.
No, it's not. It's invigorating. It's provocative. It gets the people going. Exactly. See, this doesn't make any sense from Corn Raider, who might be my new enemy. I like to read horror books. See, that just sounds painstaking.
Like you guys have a playful banter.
That just sounds like the 2 things I hate to do. I hate to read and I hate horror movies. I don't think I can claim, though, to hate horror movies when I've never seen them.
Are you easily scared? It's okay if you are. I'm not going to make fun of you.
I don't think that's my desired feeling that I want when I watch a movie.
But the texter there was like, I don't like sad movies either. Like, this person just doesn't want to feel anything, ever.
No, that guy just wants to see Jason Statham make things go boom.
So good. Every single one of them.
I'm gonna be real. We make fun of him, but like, are they not entertaining?
The Beekeeper is an amazing piece of cinema.
What's the one where
They're all the same? It doesn't matter.
His son dies. They kill his son in a with Clint Eastwood's kid, Scott Eastwood. It's a Scott Eastwood and Jason Statham movie.
Wow. What
a cast. I haven't seen
Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
That was a good one.
That was awesome. And that was a heist movie.
Mm-hmm.
We need him to make one that's on the librarian. I told you
to keep it down.
To keep it down. Now you're gonna have to pay. And then he puts on the clock. Ding. I'm waiting for that movie to come out. We are also waiting on pins and needles because we're going to have a great interview coming up next year on Middays with Matt, the coach of the 12-1 Omaha Mavericks softball team, the team that is at the top of the mid-season softball polls, or mid-major softball polls. Mike Hurt of the Omaha Softball Mavericks joining the show. Coming up next here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
celebrating and highlighting local success across Nebraska sports and Omaha sports specifically. And there's one team that has been taking mid-major softball and softball in general, by storm right now. Omaha Softball, 12-1 start to their season with multiple wins over Power 5 opponents. In saying that and supporting all of that, we bring in head coach of Omaha Softball, Mr. Mike Hurd. Coach Hurd, how you doing? And congratulations on your early season success, my friend.
Yeah, doing really good. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Coach, your fifth season here in Omaha and, your first 4 seasons here, you made the Summit League tournament championship game, and you've won the Summit League the last 3 seasons, having berths in the last 3 NCAA tournaments. 2 of those tournament berths, you guys were a 3 seed. Just in your 5th year, and now you kind of have all the players that you wanted, and it's firmly your program. How have kind of the expectations been for you? Now kind of knowing that this is a regular thing, you guys going to the Summit League tournament and going to the NCAA tournament. How has that expectations kind of changed the program, and how have you and your team handled those expectations?
Yeah, expectations have probably, they've stayed the same and they've changed, to be honest with you. I think our expectation from the beginning has always been, let's go compete for a conference championship. And that's always going to be our number one priority and our number one focus. So I think in terms of that, it's kind of stayed the same, but as things have progressed a little bit, I think we've looked a little higher, a little bigger at times too, right? We don't want to just go compete for a conference championship. We want to put together a program that can go to a regional and make some noise and maybe do a little damage in the tournament when we get there too.
Coach, I think with the NCAA, with the changes in college sports, right, and the transfer portal, the NIL era, retention has just been so hard, across the board in every sport, especially for mid-major programs like yourself. But you guys have been able to do something that not a lot of teams, regardless of what conference that they're in, has been able to do, which is getting old and staying old. I mean, this is one of your more experienced rosters that you've had in your time here in Omaha. How has that process been for you? Making sure that you're maintaining and having a ton of experience on this team, and just how much confidence does the fact that you have so many athletes who have been there before stepping into the box, how much confidence does that give you?
Yeah, we are a very experienced team this year, and the portal has changed things, and it's certainly part of it, and we have to be aware of it. And I think we've been lucky to get the right type of, not just players, but the right type of people in our program who really buy into who we are and how we do things. And they've, so appreciative. They've been very loyal, not to me, but to the program and the school. Certainly had several players who have had opportunities to jump in the portal and go elsewhere and bigger places and all of that. But just been lucky to get the right people that like what we do and like our vision and have the loyalty to stay.
Coach, one of your top performers to begin the season has been Taylor Sedlacek, your new shortstop. You went 200 straight games with penciling in Maggie O'Brien as your shortstop. How's it been, putting a different name in your order and really just finding somebody to fill those shoes, to fill that spot?
Yeah, that was a little weird when I filled out that first lineup and didn't write Maggie in there. I think my hand was shaking a little bit.
That's funny, yeah.
So, but yeah, no, she's been awesome, and we've been so lucky to get her back in our uniform this year. And I always say, we're not trying to replace Maggie. Taylor's a different type of player. She has different strengths that she brings. So could not be happier with what she's brought so far in terms of both offensively, and she's made so many strides defensively at shortstop for us too. So couldn't ask for a better person to put in that lineup to replace Maggie.
Coach, I'm looking at your schedule, and I noticed a couple of trends here. This is a very balanced schedule that you guys have, right? You go and you play Iowa State. You're going to play Arkansas twice next weekend. You're going to play Kansas. You'll play in about 2 weeks. You'll play Nebraska, but then you also play teams like Furman and Nichols and Kennesaw State. What's that process like for you? Making that schedule and making sure that you have the right non-conference schedule for your team.
Yeah, we do try to be pretty intentful about how we schedule that. We certainly like to go out and challenge our team at the highest level, and I think that's how you expose weaknesses. I think that's how you get ready for the end of the year and get ready to play in conference championships and regionals and all of that. So we do like to do that, but we also like to schedule some games that we're a development program, and that's who we want to be. We want to be a program that can develop kids, and I think that gives us an opportunity to play some younger kids and start their development and see where they're at and what we need to work on in practice and all that too. So we do pay attention to it pretty closely in terms of how we put that together.
Coach, your roster, you have players from California, you have players from Arkansas, Kansas, Iowa, got a little bit of Illinois flavor, but you have a lot of players from Nebraska, whether it be Lincoln, whether it be Papillion, whether it be Omaha, just kind of Hastings is another one, just kind of spread throughout the team. How important is recruiting locally and keeping players here in softball in the state of Nebraska? How important is them keeping them home and having them play Omaha softball?
Yeah, that's probably one of the higher important things that we do with our program. That was literally number one when I took the job. Staff got together and we decided that we are just going to really be a local based team. We want to recruit Nebraska really hard. Nebraska has such good softball. It's high level softball here. And I think the nation even is kind of starting to notice that now with what Nebraska's doing and what we're doing and all that, just high level softball here. So we wanted to start at Nebraska and then go outward from there and really base our recruiting Nebraska and Midwest kids and I've had some good luck doing it.
Omaha Softball has begun their season 12-1 this year. You're currently ranked number 1 in the mid-major softball polls, Coach. We've talked a lot about how you've built this team and a couple of players and your scheduling, but let's talk about these first 13 games specifically. Is there anything that's been surprising to you? Is there anything that in these first 13 games that maybe this team hasn't you thought they might have possessed, but maybe it's above your expectations?
Yeah, I don't know if it's above expectations, but man, one of the big points that we tried to focus on first day in the fall is I thought we needed to get better offensively. We've been really good defensively. We've been really good in the circle, and we thought we had a chance to be pretty good there again. We just thought we needed to take a step forward offensively. So when you go play some of those better teams that have a good pitcher, you can put a few runs up on the board and then let your pitcher and defense win it that way. And so far, at least, it's early, right? And I don't know how much you can put into stats this early in the season, but some of the things I see in the box in terms of our approach and how we're going about things, it does lead me to believe that it seems like we've made some progress there. Been very happy with them offensively.
Looking forward to this weekend, Arkansas, Kansas, and Boise State. You can play Arkansas twice, actually. How do you kind of balance that? Like the excitement of playing a Power 5 opponent, while also sometimes, and maybe not necessarily for your group, but sometimes mid-major teams, right? You can get a little bit intimidated because you're playing a Power 5 team, and maybe they were highly rated prospects. How do you kind of balance the excitement of, all right, hey, being able to prove yourself with also the don't get intimidated by these guys?
Yeah, I think we're at a place now where we've played enough of those teams. Honestly, I really don't see a lot of that. We really embraced it. We enjoy the challenge of it. We know there's going to be some adversity that goes with it at times, and that's okay. I think we've got a team that's mature enough to understand that's growth too. You don't have to win every game to grow, and you can go into those games and you can figure things out and you can grow from those too. So really happy with how the team handles that and how we embrace that. And you know what, just go have fun with those challenges. And this weekend will be one of them. I fully expect Arkansas right now. If I was to pick 8 teams that'll be in the World Series, I think Arkansas will be one of them. I think right now Nebraska probably one of them. We got them next week. And so we know the challenges there and we know what we're up against. And that's just an opportunity. We see it as an opportunity for us to get better.
I know traveling around the country can be fun, but are you looking forward to being able to play a softball in the actual state next week? I mean, you guys have been everywhere. Been in California, Alabama, Iowa. You're going to go to Arkansas. You're doing the whole cross-country tour, Coach.
Yeah, last couple of weeks, I think I've rolled in Sunday night about 1 a.m. and the players did too. So I think everybody's good to be home. Good to be back here for a while and not see an airport for a while. And I think our bodies need it. I think our minds need it. So it'll be good for us.
Coach, you're a 3-time Summit League tournament champion, 3 times in the NCAA tournament for the last 3 seasons with Omaha. But, man, you guys have had an incredible start this year, an older, experienced team. Congratulations thus far in your success, and we look forward to following you and hopefully having you on in the future when we're talking about your 4th Summit League championship in a row.
Yeah, Matt, appreciate you having me on.
Of course, Coach. You have a great one. Head coach of Omaha Softball, Mike Hurd. Man, let me tell you, when I came into this market, when I came into Omaha, you kind of get the lay of the land, right? You get the scouting report. You get told, hey, here are the coaches. Here's what they do. This is their personality, so on and so forth. And, you hear stories about Mac. And, I got to be pretty close to the Omaha basketball team, right, with Chris Crutchfield. And, you hear about the hockey team and this, that, or the other. The one guy, though, that a lot of people talked about and a lot of people made sure I knew and made sure that I had respect for and knew how much he accomplished was Mike Hurd. I mean, he is a stud of a coach, 71% winning percentage in his 4 seasons here in Omaha and 12-1 to start the season. He is a one heck of a softball coach. We were very happy to have him on, man. And we need to look. Like I was told, had a little birdie in my ear telling me that softball was going to be pretty good this year.
Oh,
we were notified. We were the first show actually to break that they were number 5 in the mid-major preseason poll. That they were going to have a good roster. Man, 12-1 your first 13 games in softball is ridiculous. And so they're going to have a fun weekend playing Arkansas and Kansas. They're going to get tested by competitors in the Big 12 and in the SEC. And the next week, it'll be interesting, man. Next weekend, 2 p.m. in Lincoln between Nebraska and Omaha. Nebraska has beaten some of the best teams in the country, but this Omaha softball team, like we mentioned, no slouch. And their head coach is legit as legit can get. That was Mike Hurd of Omaha Softball. So thankful we were able to have him on, along with thankful that we were allowed to have him on. We love the people over there at Omaha and the great guests and communication that they give us. Shout out Jordan. So coming up next, we're going to talk about Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
We're going to talk about MJ.
The basketball player.
I don't know. Something's piquing my interest when it comes to MJ. Yes, the basketball player.
Okay. Well, there's an actor with a similar name.
I was about to say, he's not an actor. And by the way, he's Michael B. Jordan.
B, yeah.
Who, has he been in horror movies?
Yeah.
Really?
Sinners.
If that's a horror movie?
Yeah.
Glad I didn't see it. I would have went to it. Would have had no idea it was a horror movie.
Oh, no.
I thought it was just a sex movie.
No.
That's all people were talking about. All I heard was that people were spitting in each other's mouths during that movie.
Haley Steinfeld was spitting in people's mouths.
I know. So I thought it was that doesn't scream horror. That actually screams dream.
It's erotic and a horror movie.
Hey, we've come full circle around here. Or should we say full diamond after we had Coach Mike Hurd on the show? Come on.
You can do that.
It's too easy. Nothing's easy here on a midday here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right. We're kind of in like, I don't want to call it the dead season of sports because we're on the cusp of the NCAA tournament. We're right on the precipice of March. Should be I'm gonna tell you right now, this NCAA tournament's gonna be good. Duke contender. Arizona contender. Michigan contender. Iowa State, even after that loss to BYU, contender. Houston contender. Florida contender. I'd probably draw the line there. And tier 2 would be UConn, Purdue, Zaga, Illinois. Then I would go Illinois, and then I'd put St. John's right now. St. John's right now in tier 2 with how well they're playing.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Then I would go tier 3, Virginia, Nebraska, MSU, Kansas, Tech, BYU. 4, I would go Bama, North Carolina, Arkansas, then the rest of the top 25. But tier 1 is like teams I think can win the national championship. It's really just 1 through 5. Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Iowa State, Houston. It's funny. The top 5, if you look at the logos, spell out DAMI. And I was like, dang it, why can't Tennessee be the 5th team of the country? So we can spell out damn it.
That would be pretty fun.
That'd be very funny. But no, I think all 5 of those teams win the national championship. And Florida. I really like Florida. I'm not going to quit Florida.
You don't have Nebraska on your list?
Of tier 1?
You don't think they can win the Natty?
No. No, I don't. I don't think they're...
Hater.
No, I don't. Currently, right now, I don't think they can win the national championship. When they beat Illinois on the road and they played that way, I was like, hell yeah, they can. When I went on the road to Ohio State in a place that people have fallen at, and they won that game. That was a gutsy win. I was like, whoa, this could be a Final Four team. They haven't played all that great last couple. They haven't played all that great compared to where they were. Okay. I don't think that's an unfair statement. They are not playing their best basketball right now.
I don't either. I just proxy for the audience.
I think they could get to. I don't think I'm going to relinquish Elite Eight. Like I don't think I'm gonna let go of that rope. I think that I'm just gonna, unless they lose out.
Not gonna happen. I'm ready to say that.
No, they'll beat Maryland on. They'll beat Maryland. I expect them to go 2-0 on the West Coast. But I
10
wouldn't.
o'clock tip coming
But
up.
I wouldn't be shocked if they dropped one, in particularly the UCLA game. I think that's the
10 o'clock tip.
And then the Iowa game, I think I think they're going to win that Iowa game. I'm actually very confident they're going to win that Iowa game.
You're talking yourself into it.
No, I don't think I need to be talked into it. I just think they're going to come out and they're just going to dial in. They're going to be at PBA. They're going to know that game's important. They're going to be going to the Big Ten. I mean, that game might be the difference between a 2 and a 3 or a 3 and a 4, depending on like how people, like Kansas was very much like trending in the right direction to potentially being a 2 seed, and then they dropped that game to Cincinnati. Like things can, man, I think it was John who tweeted it out, but like all these different, so many teams have lost in the top 10 the last couple of weeks, Nebraska has lost multiple times, being in the top 12, Illinois lost being in the top 10, UConn lost being in the top 5, Iowa State lost being in the top 5, Houston just lost, Kansas beat Arizona. Like there's been a lot of teams that have in the top 10 that have dropped, which is why I'm so excited for March. But anyway, all this to say before this became a college basketball segment, where by the way, the AP poll came out today for college basketball. Nebraska ranked 12th. It's fine, whatever. We're kind of in the like weird season of like, all right, today's draft day. Like everybody is dropping their big boards and their mock drafts and it's just a very Monday, February Monday, a couple of days before the combine, where everyone's like, here's my all the ESPN guys who haven't given a damn about the draft up until this point have been like, here's my top 50. I swear to God, I've watched all of the games and I've seen all of the tape. Here's my top 50. So today's draft day. A lot of, if you like David Bailey to the Titans, I'm here to tell you, sorry, ain't gonna happen. NASCAR has has found gold, I think, in a way.
Same guy keeps winning all their races, just like
So,
F1.
Tyler Reddick, who no one cares, but he's the guy who's won the first 2 NASCAR races of the season. The Daytona 500, which is one of their, let's just say that racing has 4 major races. Daytona is one of them. The Brickyard 400, which is in Indianapolis, that's another one of them. Some people like Bristol, but I'm pretty sure Talladega is considered the other like crown jewel race. He won Daytona, big deal. And he won Atlanta yesterday. He didn't have a right fender and was like in 18th place with like 10 laps to go. And he ended up winning the whole thing, in part because Bubba Wallace just absolutely blew it, made some terrible moves at the very end. And his teammate, Tyler Reddick, took advantage. Now, people might be asking, Matt, why do I care that Tyler Reddick, this small little NASCAR driver who runs the number 45 car, why do I care that he won the first 2 races? Well, Michael Jordan owns the race team that Tyler Reddick races for. He owns the race car. Michael Jordan's team, 2311 Racing, has multiple Toyota Camrys running out in NASCAR. And last year, they didn't have a very successful season in terms of, well, Reddick didn't win one. And Bubba Wallace didn't win one. Now, Denny Hamlin, who's a part of that, he won a couple of races. He almost won the entire thing. But Tyler Reddick races for Michael Jordan. They've won the first 2 races of the year. Michael Jordan can't be bothered to do more than a 1-hour interview talking about the NBA. He cannot be asked, okay? He literally has to get paid gobs and gobs of money in order to do that. And in order to do that. And yet NASCAR, because Michael Jordan owns and I have to correct myself here. Bubba Wallace, Riley Herbst, and Tyler Reddick are the 3 drivers that race for Michael Jordan. NASCAR gets 2 free interviews with Michael Jordan every single weekend now. Before the final 10 laps of the race, they go up to Michael and they go, Mike, Riley and Bubba and Tyler are on the top 10. They got a chance to win. How do you feel? And Michael gives you a poignant, intelligent, great answer about racing and cars and his drivers and how they're doing and his teams. And he loves it and he's passionate about it. And then the last 2 weeks, his driver wins and they put the microphone back in his face and they go, Michael, your driver won. How do you feel? And Michael goes, I feel great. This is awesome. We won. I can't believe we did it. And he's like happy and smiling and like having a great time. This is a dude who they asked him to do things on NBC. He was like, oh, I'm going to give you an hour interview and you're going to cut it up into clips and we're going to put it in. I'm barely going to give you any.
It last as long as possible. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything.
Platcat's making fun of me because I'm turning into Bill Simmons, but NASCAR is having a moment. They get MJ. They get 2 MJ interviews a week now.
I mean, that's probably the best case scenario. I don't know who the stars of NASCAR are anymore, but that's probably a best case scenario for the sport.
Michael Jordan is still one of the most influential humans on the planet. He's still one of the most popular, not athletes, humans on the face of this earth. And NASCAR has his team winning races and him at the forefront of being a champ. He could very well be a championship owner in NASCAR. You are going to hear, wow, Michael Jordan owns a NASCAR team. Oh, Michael Jordan, who are his racers? Oh, who are the guys that
couldn't do that with the Bobcats?
Who are that's what I thought yesterday. But like, you got Tyler Reddick with the Jumpman logo on his jacket when he's winning the Daytona 500. This is big for NASCAR, in my opinion. I think people are going to be like, wow, Michael's winning. Let me see what this is all about. Is NASCAR going to become a super popular sport because Michael Jordan owns a team and they're winning? No, they're not. Does it up the up the brandability of Tyler Reddick, the fact that he races for MJ and now he's won the first 2 races of this season for NASCAR? Absolutely.
I've heard more about NASCAR in the last 2 weekends than I have since COVID.
NASCAR is getting free Michael Jordan interviews on Fox. And CBS or NBC rather reportedly had to pay like $80 million to get a 1-hour MJ interview. They're getting it for free. And the dude has never looked happier. He's never looked more excited to be interviewed. And he hates talking to people. I don't know. They're having a moment. I wanted to point it out.
Someone had to.
Someone had to. Someone has to talk about Mike Ekeler. I'll be the guy. I'll do it.
Will you now?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. Stop it. You're the one who distracted me last time. That was all your fault.
You said some things that needed to be picked
Do
at.
we really need to pick on me not watching a horror movie?
Not pick on, pick at. I want to just let me pick at it. Why?
The last team to pick it was the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm good, man.
No bang.
I'm so good.
No bang.
No bang. I'm so yes bang. And yes to Mike Ekeler. We'll talk about him next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
People freaked out about him.
Yes, they did.
People got pretty upset about him. Let's just tackle this head on. All right. Mike Ekeler said in regard, he had two main quotes that people were really freaking out about. That were, multiple publications wrote about him. He said, the last place I was at, the head coach never came to one. He's talking about a special teams meeting. Ekeler claimed after being asked if he was okay with the Trojans head coach Lincoln Riley coming to his unit's meetings. I'd love for that to happen. It's just places that type of importance on the teams. People got very upset that Matt Rhule was not going to special teams meetings, apparently, and that Mike Ekeler, clearly that was important to him, and Matt Rhule wasn't doing that. I would, and the immediate question I would ask is, did Ekeler ever ask, and we're never going to know this question, the answer to this question, but if like something like that bothers you, my question is, well, did you ever ask, hey, Matt, can you come to this meeting? Hey, it's of my belief that if you were to be at these special teams meetings, that you come to these things. Because, whether or not you know it, it places an importance on special teams that if you're here, if you're just around, you don't have to talk about anything. You don't have to say anything. Can you just show up to one of these things? Right? I mean, if you're going to say this, right? The last place I was at, the head coach never came to one. I mean, clearly it bothered you to the point that you have to mention that, right? Because he was asked, "Oh, are you okay with Lincoln Riley coming to meetings?" All he had to say was, "I'd love for that to happen." It just places the type of importance on the teams. He didn't have to mention Rhule wasn't coming to his meetings. So that's fine if that bothered Ekeler. My immediate question would be, did you ask? Did you ask Rhule to come? And if you did ask for Rhule to come and he didn't come to the meetings, then okay, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. Clearly, here's a special teams coordinator, asking you for something because he thinks it's important. I think you should cater to that. If that question was never, if Ekeler never addressed that with Rhule, like a grown man, okay, and said, "Hey, dude, I would like you to come to these meetings." If that never happened, then I don't know, man. Like I think that's just difference in philosophies, right? Because in Ekeler's mind, it could be, well, you're not placing an importance on this unit. But in Rhule's mind, it definitely could be, well, it's your room. I'm letting you have your room. I'm not micromanaging you. I'm not telling you what to do. Also, I'm not going to come in there and change anything you're doing. So why do I don't know why I have to be there. Right? That's just, and I think that's just something that we've already kind of known with these two guys. They are different humans.
Yes.
They are very different people. They have different personalities. They kind of handle things different ways on the sidelines. The way that they walk, the way that they talk, the way that they're just kind of different dudes, at least outward facing. And I think that these interviews that they've done where they've mentioned each other and they've been somewhat respectful, but also just, tight little jabs. We're not doing the glory of special teams to have the glory of special teams. And, I want a guy that's going to be in the foxhole. Like that came from Rhule. My other head coach never came to one of these things, right? Or the other quote that got everybody all upset was he was talking about not coaching on defense. He said, that was the first time in my career that I had never coached on defense. I enjoyed that and enjoyed the experience, and they had been down for several years on special teams. And quite frankly, I wanted that challenge, and we flipped it. We turned it around. We identified, we taught them and brought in some people, and it was a very solid foundation from a special team standpoint, and it was kind of on cruise control. So some people kind of got upset there. It's like, oh, okay, Ekeler didn't think he was like coaching anymore. Maybe that's how some people took it. To me, right? Matt Rhule is put in a bit of a tough situation from this regard. He's got his guy in Rob Dvorak, and he brought his guy in Rob Orich. And he wants Rob to bring in his dudes and have the system that he wants and have the teachers that he wants. And he also is very loyal to Rob Dvorak, who is one of his dudes, one of his original guys. You know, Rob Dvorak is the definition of OOU. And so Rhule is put in this tough situation where, in my opinion, right, would I really like? I'm just looking at this from a business perspective, from a making decisions perspective. Would I get rid of Rob Dvorak and make Mike Ekeler the linebackers coach so I can keep my special teams coordinator around and continue the momentum that special teams have? Matt McMaster, who's not in the building, who doesn't have any emotional ties, who's just looking at it from a business perspective, would make that decision. Okay? It's very easy for me to say that because I don't know Rob. I don't know his family. I haven't brought him up in coaching. I wasn't his former, Rob Dvorak played for Matt Rhule. Like it's easy for me to sit here, and I'm recognizing that. It's easy for me to sit here and say, I would have made that decision. I would have made Mike Ekeler the linebackers coach and kept him around special teams. But it's not as easy for Rhule to make that decision. And that's kind of tough for him. So I'm recognizing that. At the same time, not having Mike Ekeler be your special teams coordinator and not replacing him with a veteran special teams coordinator and instead replacing him in the aggregate with two guys who haven't been coordinators at Power 4 levels is a very tough decision and very well could come back to bite you in the butt. But I think what this really all boiled down to, there was just a difference in personalities and a difference in philosophies. And despite all of that, right? Despite all of that, Rhule still gave him a contract, and Rhule still was willing to pay him more money, and Rhule still was willing to bring him back. But these are just, mainly two different guys with two different outlooks who wanted two different things. And it kind of worked out the way that it worked out. From a business perspective and from a wins perspective, what do you probably get more wins out of? Probably get more wins out of Ekeler being your inside linebackers coach and him being your special teams coordinator. At the same time, the principles of having your guys and bringing in a DC and wanting him to have full autonomy or as much autonomy as you can give him on the staff. These are tough decisions that coaches have to make. Okay? This is not a Rhule thing. This happens everywhere across the country. Everywhere across the country. And in Rhule's mind, the decision he made was, dude, I'm going to pay you so much money. I'm going to pay you more money than almost any other special teams coordinator in the country. And if you don't want that, then that's fine. We'll figure it out.
I'm Mike Ekeler. I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly.
And I understand. I totally understand where Eckler's coming from, right? He loves to coach defense. He was able to do it during the bowl game. He scratched that itch. He realized he enjoyed scratching that itch. He wanted to find another opportunity. And he went out and he found it. He got paid a lot of money for it. Congratulations to you. I think the mistake, if we're looking at potential mistakes that have been made, I think the mistake of not going out and hiring somebody else is probably way more than the mistake of letting Ekeler go. I had very strong opinions on this before a lot of this, before Ekeler talked and whatnot and being more educated on it. But there definitely was a moment, an opportunity for Rhule to give Ekeler maybe what he wanted, right? Which is, hey, you can coach the defense and you can be the special teams coordinator. I just think that would have been an impossibly hard decision for Rhule to make, to tell Rob Dvorak, hey, I know he brought you here. I know you've been here. We love continuity. We love guys who've been coaches on the staff for as long as possible. Look, we give EJ Barthel a lot of credit for Emmett Johnson, but we should give Rob Dvorak a ton of credit for John Bullock as well. Has that linebacker room been exceptional? No. Has it been amazing? No. Has it been a pain in the side of Nebraska football? I don't think so. I just think it's been inconsistent at times. I don't think it's been terrible. I don't think Rob Dvorak has coached in a manner that warrants him not being the linebackers coach anymore. And I think that his developmental story with John Bullock is probably one of the best that they have. I just think this whole situation just boils down to two guys who are very different with very different philosophies, and they wanted different things. S happens. Would some people have moved heaven and earth to make sure that you kept your special teams coordinator? Maybe. We'll decide not to. It's at the end of the day, it's the decisions you got to live with, And I think it's a lot tougher of a decision maybe than I made it out to be in the beginning.
Would two grown adults who only worked together for 1 year continue to take pot shots at each other?
Yeah,
in
that's kind of
4 months after they stopped working together.
It's kind of. John was calling them side swipes. I want to call them tight jabs. All right, you're not winning the round. All right,
they're very purposeful.
Yeah,
the last place I was at, he didn't say previous places I was at. He said the last place.
But they're like it was like Fury versus Wilder, where Fury would kind of flick him. He would flick him a little bit, and like you're not knocking Deontay out, right? And you're not scoring a ton of points with that, but you're just hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm sending the distance. I'm sending. Am I gonna throw the left hand?
Matt Rhule with a retweet.
Right here. I'm right here. I'm keeping. That's just what they're kind of doing, right? Rhule just quick jab, right? Ekeler with a quick jab back. Bob and weave. They're not knocking each other out.
They're both like, yeah, I see you talking about me.
I'm here. Maybe I'll switch it up. Maybe I'll go southpaw. Maybe I'll go ortho. Who knows? God, I love boxing. Clarissa Shields fought last night. She's one of the best female fighters of all time. You didn't know that? It's on DAZN boxing.
I did not.
So
be happy for you to educate me on that.
Well, she's one of the greatest women's boxers of all time. She won a unanimous decision yesterday.
Couldn't finish the fight, huh?
Yeah. Well, wait, let me see. I'm pretty sure she won. Yeah, she got it. Unanimous decision.
Got to take her out.
That's what you have to do.
You want to be a star? It's knockouts, baby.
Okay, that's that. By the way, quick spring football updates.
Yeah.
Apparently Elijah Pritchett, and this is I think Holgerson touched on it. He's emerging into a veteran leadership role. Quite shocking considering the fact that he was on the other side of that coin a little bit ago. But this program is in like a spot where they need proof of concept. Like they kind of just need guys to do what they want them to do to tell other dudes, hey, look at what this guy did type deal. Which is why I think like Dylan being great was more important than him just winning games and having stats. Like I thought Dylan being great was that proof of concept of like, hey, we know what we're doing. We got a 5-star quarterback. We developed him into a really good player and won games with him. Hey, 5-star quarterback, do you want to follow in Dylan's footsteps? Like Elijah Pritchett is a great example of like, hey, we took a guy who was a blue chip and an SEC team and it didn't really pan out for him. Look how much he's grown on the field and off the field. Tim Verghese tweeted out something yesterday.
Timmy V.
I love Timmy V. I trust Timmy V implicitly. He goes, look at how big Jamal Rhule looks. Jamal Rhule might be the guy that we might find out that he's the reason they didn't go out and get a running back. And I'm not going to sit here and say that dude, they've been peddling this Quinn and Ives propaganda for years now, where it's just like, I'm not going to fully believe you when you tell me over and over and over again that the running back room is great. But that's a guy that I know that they've felt very good about for a long time now. And Timmy V being like, hey, dude's put on some weight. Hopefully it's kind of Jamarian Parker situation where he's just on the bike the entire spring. So it looks like he's practicing. Yeah, there's some, I don't know. I'm reading some of these reports and I'm just getting a little encouraged.
We're mixing the Kool-Aid.
A little bit, yes, admittingly.
We're stirring it up.
Admittingly. I've put the water in the big jug.
Mm-hmm.
I have not opened up a packet. I have not gotten my big wooden spoon,
Okay.
but I'm preparing to put the water in the jug.
Hello.
As I continue to read more reports about how big the offensive line looks and how they continue to improve with Jeep Wade, then we might open up a packet.
Sharkleberry Finn's coming, everybody.
How about Kool-Aid Watch? We just have a graphic that like shows how much Kool-Aid I'm like
Where
making.
we're at, yeah.
Where we're at. Just Matt with an empty jug on a table. Okay. Kool-Aid Watch. We're in phase 1 of the seven phase process of winning the offseason. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a team that didn't win the offseason. They've just won the regular season. That's Nebraska basketball. We talk about that next with Husker Online and On3's incredible writer, Robin Washut, here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Enter online at 1620 Zone for a chance to win our Get Your S Together $5,000 sweepstakes contest. Runs until tomorrow, February 24th. So make sure to enter in at 1620thezone.com. Yesterday was the 46th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice team winning in the 1980 Olympics in Lake Placid. to become the second team of all time to win the gold medal for the U.S. in hockey in the Olympics. But I would argue that today is an even greater anniversary. It's the 41-year anniversary of Bobby Knight throwing a chair across the court after being displeased with the call. We bring in from Husker Online and On 3, Mr. Robin Washut. Robin, is there any coach freakout that comes to mind that you've seen in person before?
Nothing like the Bob Knight chair, but I was there courtside when Tim Miles got thrown out of Nebraska's first NCAA tournament appearance, and what was it, like 15 years or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Carl Hess, the legendary or notorious official, for whatever reason. I think that Tim was like yelling at him because the clock hadn't started, or there's a shot clock malfunction, and he's trying to get his attention. Carl Hess thought that like Tim was trying to upstage him, ends up throwing him out. Craig Smith has to finish the game, and what was a brutal loss to Baylor. But that's about as demonstrative as it gets. There was another one when Tim Miles and who was it? There was one coach.
Okay.
I can't remember, another Big Ten coach that there was something going on, and they basically had to be separated. We're like, wow, I can't remember what coach it was. It was a Big Ten coach.
Okay.
And he, anyway, there was like a hard foul.
Okay.
And like he started yelling at the player, and Tim was yelling at him not to yell at his players, and then they like kind of had to get like bumped around at midcourt. So there's been some instances, but nothing quite at Bobby Knight's level.
All right, let's talk about the game against Penn State. Interesting one. I think my takeaway, Robin, was in the first half. All right, there's a little bit of the sloppiness that you've seen, kind of in the month of February. They go on that 4-minute drought where they don't score anything from like 11:40 to about 7:30 in the game. But mainly Penn State was terrible, so it didn't really matter. And granted, Nebraska played good defense as well. And then in the second half, they turn on the faucet, and it looks like maybe the Nebraska team that we've seen so many times throughout this year, where they dropped 49 points in the second half, and Price Sanford looks like an all Big Ten first team caliber player. Your takeaways from the game against Penn State, Rob?
I don't know, not a lot. Nebraska did what they were supposed to do. Penn State's really bad, and they played like it, and Nebraska was pretty much in control of that one from start to finish, and outside of a couple lulls here and there, it was a game that was never really in doubt. And so, that was what was supposed to happen. They were, I think, opened at 18.5-point favorites, and so everybody just expected Nebraska to take care of business, and they did. And so it was good that they did what they were supposed to do, especially coming off such a emotional and frustrating and chaotic loss at Iowa. To bounce back the right way and handle your business, I thought was encouraging, and kind of what this team has, for the most part, been able to do most of the year. But they got another similar situation coming up here on Wednesday night against another bad Maryland team that is going through their own share of struggles. And so, you're at home, you're a team that is pushing to be a top 3 seed, maybe even higher in the tournament, and you got to go do what you're supposed to do. So, I guess it was encouraging. The big takeaway from Penn State that, Nebraska didn't seem to have much of a hangover from that Iowa loss, and they were able to beat up on a bad team the way that you would expect. And now they have a similar challenge ahead, and then we'll see if they can kind of build from those 2 wins some quality momentum to where you can further establish yourself as not just with your NCAA tournament seeding, but pretty much come close to locking up a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament and get yourself that triple bye in Chicago.
Let's do some revisionist history here. Let's go back. I want to take you back, because you covered it well, like you cover everything well in the offseason, of Price Sanford's recruitment. When they went ahead and they were looking to bring in Price, a guy who showed definitely some potential and has the measurables that you would want in a wing, but didn't really play a whole lot at Iowa. Was there a belief that he would develop into what he's developed into, a guy that very well could leave this year to go to the NBA draft? Was that anywhere on the radar for Nebraska when they were going after him?
Yeah, they thought he was that type of player coming out of high school when they recruited him. They recruited him heavily out of Waukee Northwest High School and had him on an official visit. And honestly, had it not been for his older brother playing at Iowa and some close relationships with the family and Iowa staff, he probably ends up at Nebraska right out of the gate. Fred had always seen more than just a catch and shoot spot shooter that Price pretty much was in his 2 years at Iowa. He didn't really get a chance to do much else outside of just being a complementary piece in Fran McCaffrey's offense. And so, there was a reason that when he hit the portal, literally the very first phone call he received was from Fred Hoiberg, because they have been high on him for a long, long time. And they knew that if he were to become available, and, there was some rumors before the official announcement that, he might be back on the market. They saw that, he's just everything that they wanted, not just in the fit with their system, not with the fit with the shooting they wanted to improve, but just him as a person and the character that he has. I mean, he kind of embodies everything on and off the floor that Fred Hoiberg wants this program to be about. So it was a no-brainer for both sides. That's why his recruitment didn't last very long. He got the I guess, re-offer from Nebraska, came and took a visit, and that was pretty much it from that point. And that was the first real big domino of that offseason. Because remember, they're doing all this while they're out in Las Vegas. For the Crown. And so it was kind of a chaotic couple of weeks for him there when the portal opened and then the Crown started. And so getting Price kind of in the books right out of the gate really kind of got your offseason off and running, even though you were still trying to play and what ended up being a pretty critical run down at the Crown.
Do you think we should make like a, maybe not an official award, but, track the transfer of the year in college sports? Because I feel like, the transfer portal has become so important, and we kind of need to give some coaches and programs credit when they go ahead and make good acquisitions. Should we make that award? And would Price win it? Do you think that he would, just considering his value, his development, what maybe other teams expected from him and what he produced, and the fact that there are so many other transfers that other teams paid way more for and aren't performing at Price's level, would he be a contender for transfer of the year if we had that award?
Yeah, I'd have to look at kind of what the other minutes in production are with some of these other accomplishments, because you said every team has transfers.
I know,
so it's hard to narrow it down, but let's just put it in the scope of the Big Ten. Yeah, I think he'd put right in. I mean, he's a candidate for first team All Big Ten right now.
Yeah.
So that alone puts him in that conversation. Now, there's a guy named Yaxel
Lendenberg,
doing pretty well at Michigan, who's a transfer. So he might be the front runner in that regard, but Price, with what he's done and the impact that he's made, certainly he's in that conversation in the Big Ten, and probably in at least the discussion on a national level too.
Well, another thing is that you bring up Lendenberg. You can make an argument that right there contending with Lendenberg is Morez Johnson, who transferred from Illinois to Michigan as well. And then you go ahead and you look at what Illinois did. They got
Ade Mara too.
Yeah, and Mara as well. But then, I mean, you could basically call the European recruitment the transfer portal, right? And Illinois got a bunch of those guys, and then they got Stojakovic from Cal. I mean, it's just it's crazy how the Big Ten, now that they have money, have just been able to flood, their the conference with a ton of talent. You're looking at NCAA tournament seedings. I'm sure you're looking at bracketology. You're looking at bracket matrix. You're looking at Lenardi. You're looking at Cats. We just got the top 16 from the NCAA themselves. Nebraska is a 3 seed. Is there any, teams that you look at that could be in the same bracket as Nebraska, that could be in the same region as Nebraska, that you're saying, "Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't want to see Duke. I don't want Nebraska to be in the same region as Texas Tech. I don't." Or are you thinking, "Oh, maybe if Virginia was there, that'd be a good matchup for Nebraska"? Have you gotten that far yet in looking at some of these brackets?
No, I mean, mostly concerned about just who that first round draw is. Just because, I mean, I'm still operating just get that first one. Let's worry about the icing on the cake once we get there, when you're talking about Sweet 16, Elite 8 matchups. But,
sure.
If we're having that conversation, I don't want any part of Houston. They are just a pain in the you-know-what. with everything they do defensively, and you look at the way Nebraska struggled against really physical defenses, that would be a nightmare matchup for them. So I think it's, that's kind of the problem right now, is because Nebraska really wants to go to Oklahoma City. Well, who's the front runner to be the 1 seed in OKC? Probably going to be Houston.
Yeah.
So, that's a tough kind of draw there, where you, like, the first couple of games, it's a dream scenario, but then, you're probably putting yourself on the path for maybe what would be the worst, just X's and O's matchup available, just because of all the things Houston does that would give Nebraska a lot of problems. But again, that's stuff that you worry about, Ben. I think first and foremost, you do what you need to do to get that first win and kind of finalize this as being the greatest season in Nebraska basketball history.
Do you think the fact that Nebraska is susceptible to athletic teams and teams that are more physical than them, like those are probably the two types of archetypes that would work best against a team like Nebraska? Considering that, are you kind of maybe a little more confident that, hey, you're probably not going to see that in a 14 seed or a 13 seed?
Yeah, and that's what makes staying I think on the 3 line so important. Because if you drop to the 4, then you're putting yourself up maybe against a little higher quality mid-major. I think Nebraska should be okay if they stay in that 3, even if they drop to the 4. You never know at that point. But I think that another thing to keep in mind here is the reason Nebraska struggled against physicality is a lot of what teams have been allowed to do against Nebraska, where it's hard to run offense when you're getting grabbed and pulled and pushed and bumped and all that stuff, and fouls aren't being called. And you look at kind of the conspiracy theory about why the Big Ten has struggled so much in the NCAA tournament. It's because the game is officiated so much differently in postseason play compared to what teams are used to in the regular season, especially at this point. It just seems like the later you get in the year, physicality is allowed at a much higher level, and it becomes kind of a fist fight towards these last couple of weeks of the season. And then when teams get in the NCAA tournament, they try to defend that way and play with that brand of physicality, and the officials from other conferences don't let them do it. So maybe Nebraska won't have the issues as much as they're having right now, because maybe they'll get a crew from the Big 12 or ACC or something like that might be a little bit more willing to call off fouls than what the Big Ten officials have been doing the last couple of weeks.
Robin Washut, you're the man. Thanks as always. Really hoping we get you. We continue to preview some of these NCAA tournament matchups and aren't necessarily worried too much about the West Coast trip and the Maryland game and everything like that. I like to talk about the future and not necessarily worrying about things game to game with this team. So this has been fun. We appreciate your coverage throughout the entire season.
Well, good, man. Talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. Robin Washut, Husker Online on 3. Coming up next, Josh Hodson tells you what to watch, and I give you a dog of the day here on 1620 The Zone. let's put that back up real quick. We have the Kool-Aid meter here, which is great.
Dueling Kool-Aid meter graphics.
Yes. Well, this one's a little tough, but that's awesome.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Look at that.
How do you get that spoon in your
I
hand?
don't know how he did that. I also don't know how he got that picture. By the way, I don't even know who sent this to us. It was a 402 number.
Oh, just a text.
Yeah, just a text. Somebody sent this to us.
Good text.
Good text. But here's the Kool-Aid meter. I do want to adjust some things. This is perfect.
Okay.
We have the empty glass. Okay. We have the Kool-Aid not open yet, and we have the wooden spoon. The one critique, and maybe you'd have to find another meter, but I think I'm on the lowest part.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, and I couldn't quite find it.
But I would say I'm on the first, but I am rising. I am going up. I want to make it very clear. The Kool-Aid is getting worse.
Guy reads a couple spring practice reports.
I'm reading all the reports, and
he forgets all about Nebrasketball.
I'm like, Babalade's got a really good length. You know, they beat some guys up from Ibanga.
He's going to be good on the lines this year.
Leslie Black. He's got a lot of starts for Iowa State. Jamal Rhule. He's looking the part. I mean, it's just like, the guys that are here, the guys that aren't here, and the teams that are playing today are the teams that are winning today. And it's like, boom. You like my Madden?
It really, yeah. I mean, it got there. Wasn't ready for it.
What are we watching tonight?
Great question. It's pretty top heavy.
Monday Night Raw.
It's not a complete desolate wasteland. I don't know if any of these games are happening because of weather concerns on the East Coast. I don't know if you've heard.
Is it bad?
They've
No,
got
I haven't.
3 foot of snow in the upper Northeast. But
wow, okay.
Here's what's scheduled to be on your television tonight. Number 21, Louisville. Number 16, North Carolina, 6 o'clock on ESPN. And then Matt gets to drool all over the Big 12 again.
Come on. It's a great game
It
tonight.
is a great game. Number 2, Houston. Number 8, Kansas, 8 o'clock on the worldwide leader.
I love the Big 12.
You do?
I'm going to tell you right now, if Nebraska was in the Big 12, I'd be all over it. I know Bill Moose is an idiot, but it's a great conference. I'm a fan.
And then potential NBA Finals preview tonight on Peacock. Spurs Pistons, the ratings darling that is Spurs Pistons, 6 o'clock tonight on Peacock.
Is Noah Eagle on the call? Because if he is, I'll watch it.
I have no idea.
Fair enough.
Jazz Rockets follows that at 9 o'clock. Couple of sports movies you could watch tonight on cable.
What, Draft Day?
No. Ali is on VH1 at 7. Why it's on VH1, I don't know, but neither here nor there.
Yeah.
And of course, Moneyball is on BBC America at 7 o'clock, as it usually is most nights.
We're going to recreate him in the aggregate. Mike Ekeler turned around Tennessee's special teams program. Then he turned around our special teams program. Now he's at USC. Kicks. Our first name, Brett Maurer. Coach, I mean, if I may, I mean, he's never even coached special teams before. Well, we don't care about Brett's experience. We're just all right. I can't continue. Nick Humphrey, name number 2. Oh God, Billy. He can't even throw anymore.
He's got a notebook. Mike left it behind.
Do I care? No, I do not.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
Some fools are saying that Kansas is better without Darren Peterson. I call those people the same people who think black and white films with no sound was the peak of cinema. Idiots. Give me Darren Peterson 25 plus points tonight against Houston. Plus 320.
Oh.
I trust DP. No load managing tonight for Mr. Darren Peterson. All buckets.
Mr. Self, I'm getting the black lung.
When I bet on him, he'll play great.
Can't play tonight.
Cramps.
I'm going to watch Moneyball on BBC America.
Is that going to be his nickname, Cramps? That's what I'm going to
That's pretty good.
Cramps. Yeah. That's for all right. We've done it. Sorry, Darren Peterson. Now and forever. Mr. Cramps. See, I just turned a Matt McMaster bit into a Connor Happer bit. You turn into a Connor Happer bit by putting Mr. in front of the name.
That's right.
I see. I'm solving the man.
Good on you for learning that.
Jacob Bigelow goes, nah, his nickname is DNP. That's a good one, too.
That is good.
Do you know what wasn't a DNP? this show.
Oh.
We did play today. We played everywhere. We played the hits. We played the yacht. We played the rock. We played everything. We did a good job today. Good job to you, Josh Hodson.
Good job, Matt McMaster.
Good job to our listening audience. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for listening to Middays with Matt. And don't forget, enter online at 1620zone.com for a chance to win a year supply of Girl Scout cookies, brought to you by the Girl Scout Spirit of Nebraska. Girl Scout cookies are running now to March 15th. So we have some new cookies. All cookie proceeds are staying in Nebraska to support the Girl Scouts. Just go to 1620zone.com right now for a chance to win a year supply of Girl Scout cookies. You've been listening to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.